both raise children and work.
Well,
Shared parenting, like the husband takes roles. Sometimes they get babysitters. Sometimes there's intergenerational families. There's multiple ways that women share the load of parenting.
So that's a net good?
It can be, yeah.
Okay.
Freedom of
What
opportunity.
is the standard for good here?
Do you mean like at an epistemic level?
At any level.
Good as in...
In your worldview, what determines the good?
So in the case of what we're talking about, I talked about the innovator scale. So the reason I like women being able to have access to opportunity is because it improves GDP.
Okay, so the net good for society is just what? More fiat money? Like what determines that?
Yep, GDP is a good thing. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I do.
You don't think
first
GDP
of all,
is
like,
good?
what if the money is a scam?
That doesn't have anything to do with GDP. Why would not having more GDP for a country not be good?
The nature of the money itself, if the money system is a debt-based scam, doesn't have anything to do with GDP?
Not really, because GDP is about like the income of a country, right? So like debt is part of how you navigate income of a country.
Right, but our country's income is presently based on pure debt, right? Is that a bad thing?
Our GDP is not based on debt, no.
It is. Well, the whole system is based on debt. Gross domestic product is not itself debt. I'm saying the economic system itself is based on debt.
Yeah, like
Because it's
MTN.
a debt-based system.
Yeah, like modern theory of like money is very debt organized. It's just like debt is not this like boogaloo scary thing in and of itself.
No. I'm talking about our system is fiat. It's not attached to anything hard. There's no hard currency that our money is attached to since the shock doctrine of Nixon, right? So
Yeah, of
Nixon
course.
goes with the gold standard, so we're now a debt-based system. So I'm just saying your highest quality was the best GDP in society. So your organizing principle is a neoliberal economic theory. So what I want to know is, even if that's itself based on debt, then what's the source of the good here?
So in this case, what is good for society is having a competitive GDP so that your enemies can't stomp
That's the
you.
highest good?
That's not the highest good. That's the good of what I'm talking about in the case of women entering in.
What is the
innovator
highest
scale.
good that determines that that's good?
Are you talking about morality?
Just at all. In your system, you tell me what your system's standard of good is.
So I'm not really sure why we're having the epistemic conversation. I
Why
guess
not?
Because it feels like we're losing the plot of the conversation.
No, I want to know what your standard of the good is.
Again, what do you mean by good?
You said that the GDP is necessarily attached to the highest good.
I didn't say highest good. I said it's a good thing.
Okay, then I'm asking you what the highest good is that determines that the GDP is better than not caring about GDP.
So you're asking for my moral foundation theory?
Sure.
I'm a divine
You tell
command
me.
theorist.
From what divine command?
The Christian God.
And he says GDP is good?
No.
Did
that's-
Moses come down and talk
I don't
about
think GDP is moral.
that? You just said it was the highest good
I
for
didn't say it was
this
the highest good.
This debate.
No, I said it's good for society.
Then it's moral if it's good.
I don't think it's moral in this case.
If it's good, it's moral.
Well, you can have good
The
as in
good
functional.
is a moral claim.
Well, of course, you can have functional claims, right?
So if it's only functional or if it's only pragmatic, then it's not ultimately a good. It's just subjective.
So at a functional level, it is, I guess, do you disagree with this idea that it's good for a state to have competitive high GDP?
It could be, but I don't think it's the highest good, and I have a standard of good. So I'm trying to figure out what yours is.
Well, what's more important for a nation state than GDP?
The health of the society.
Sure, but if the health of society is really high,
I mean, could you have? Let me give you an example. Could you have a society that's a mass addicted to drugs but has a good number, a nice income?
probably not.
No, you can have societies that are full of detriment, like full of ghettos, and they're ruled over by organized crime that make a lot of money.
Typically, those countries, like if you're thinking about like the Congo or like areas that have like high levels of corruption, their GDP is horrible because typically crime is not good for GDP.
But I'm saying you could conceivably have that. It doesn't matter whether there's some exception to that rule somewhere.
It's not
in
exception. I would say
Congo.
the rule is, in general, when you have lots of corruption and drug addiction, it's not good for GDP.
But I'm saying conceivably you could have a ruling elite that makes a lot of money from drugs, and the society itself is living in shantytown, right?
I
They're
don't
living
think
on
that
Skid Row.
nation state would have high GDP. I don't think there's any evidence
It
that that
doesn't
nation
matter
state.
if you think that, because it's conceivable that you could have that, right? You could have a successful oligarchy that makes a lot of money, and the people themselves don't do very well.
Are you talking about like Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, but Saudi Arabia, again, is not nearly as competitive as somewhere like America or any
Well,
NATO
again,
country.
how do we know that competitiveness for women is a good? You've just said that that's the case because it increases GDP.
So I'll just
so
break
it's
it
a
down.
circle.
It's okay. If we're gonna do
What?
I won every rep before that. You're only as good as your last one. All right, man. Let's take a break. You can't end on that one. You got another level.
we can do a grippers trilemma. It's just useless. I can use it at you too, right?
Well, but if I'm arguing for a moral ought on the basis of
This is not a moral ought.
It is. You
This
said
is not.
it's a good. If you said something is
I
good.
said it's functional.
Yeah,
what
but-
word? Okay, we're doing chatter.
So
what
now
word
you're
do you want me to use
in a debate,
when I say functional?
No, in a debate, if you're arguing for your position, then you're necessarily arguing that we ought to follow your position.
Yeah, I think I said
so
it's
it
a
is an ought.
necessity and an unavoidable. That doesn't
So
mean
it
it's
is an
a,
ought.
It doesn't mean it's a moral claim. It would be like realpolitik.
Well, then it's an ought, because do you think we ought to follow your
Not all
arguments?
oughts are moral.
Ought we follow your arguments?
As in, like, should you do what I prescribe for society?
Ought we follow the true arguments versus the false arguments?
Sure.
Okay. Then you're using an ought right now to argue for your position.
Sure, but this isn't a moral claim.
You just argued that we ought to follow your position. That's
It's
a
still
moral
not a moral
claim.
claim.
It is.
It's not.
Oughts are morals if you're extending them to everybody in the theoretical realm of listening to the debate.
Do you think that it's
So we ought
moral or
not?
not moral to have GDP? Do you think GDP is moral?
I'm pointing out that your
Could you
position.
answer my question this
I have a
time?
different system than you,
Do
so it's
you
not going to
think-
apply to my system.
Do you think that GDP is moral?
Everything in life is conceivably or potentially moral
How is GDP moral?
because you extended it to, in this argument, the highest good.
I did not.
You
I
walked
did not,
it back after
no,
I asked for the highest good.
No.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
You
I said
said
for a
in this-
nation state, I guess it's like one of the higher goods. Yes. It's not the highest good. And I've said,
So, and what is the good?
Jay, I don't know how to explain to you over and over that this is not a moral claim. It's real
You're
politics.
saying that?
It's pragmatism.
You're saying that, but ought we follow your argument in pragmatism here?
If you want a flourishing society by and large.
So we ought, logically.
Sure, but it's
Ought we
again,
logically?
It's sure. It's again. It's not a moral claim.
It's not.
Is GDP a moral claim?
It can be depending upon
How?
the system.
How is GDP a moral claim?
In your system,
How is
you're
it-
arguing that you just said we ought to follow your arguments.
I don't know how many times to tell you this.
Yeah, but
I'm not
you're
making a
confused.
moral claim.
You are,
I'm
and you're
not.
saying you're not.
You're just keep telling me that I
Anytime you
am.
say that there's an ought,
That's not true.
that is true.
No.
It is.
No.
Even if you redefine it as
Okay,
functional.
how about this? You don't
because-
have to have a liberal society that has a high GDP. You're just going to get stomped and you'll be a failed
I
nation
just
state.
fucking did
It's neutral morally.
Yeah, but you're missing the point about highest goods for society. You're arguing
I'm not
that.
engaging in that yet.
Well, that's big. Go ahead.
Oh no, just if you guys can try to, if you guys can just try to let each other finish your thoughts. But go ahead.
So this debate necessarily comes down to metaphysical claims and epistemical claims and ethical claims.
No.
Yes, it does.
We can-
Because
so we can go
feminism
there.
is about morals, ethics, biology, society, social relations. You can't divorce ethics from that. Now, if you think you can, I'm happy to address that, but that's just going to get you in an even deeper bind.
I'm not saying that you can't, that you can divorce these things. Of course, feminism
You
has
just
moral
argued a
claims.
minute ago that it's not moral.
GDP is not moral.
Then you can't divorce these things. So you just contradicted yourself.
So there are lots of elements. Okay, there are lots of elements within feminism that do make moral claims, right? Lots of them. When I'm talking about something like an innovator scale, it's not a moral claim. It's real politics.
I
It's
understand you
pragmatic.
think that, but I'm pointing out that it is still moral. That's the argument I'm making.
Okay. Do you want to engage with the actual conversation now?
You saying that doesn't avoid the argument I'm
Okay.
making. I know that's what you're
Why
trying
is
to do.
GDP not good for society, or is it?
I'm saying it depends on your standard of good,
What
and that's
about
what I'm
your-
asking you what
what's
the
your
standard
standard
is.
of good, and do
I
you
think GDP can be great for a society, but it's not the highest good of society,
Sure, I
such
agree
as
with that.
the social cohesion of society. That's more important than who's making fiat money.
Okay, what do you think is the role of the nation state? What should
The
it do?
nation state has the job and the duty to defend its people and to maintain a healthy society, to punish the wicked, and to reward virtue.
Sure, yeah, I would broadly agree. It's to keep its citizens safe, right? Okay, how does it do that at a
Mm-hmm. But
foreign
I
policy
said
level?
reward virtue and punish vice. So there's also necessarily an ethical component there.
Sure, that's your claim.
Right, that's my worldview.
Yeah, I'm just engaging with it.
Right.
Okay, so then how does your nation state, in your worldview, protect itself from enemies?
It has a standing army.
Okay, and how does it fund that standing army?
Well, nations have gone into debt, or they have been prosperous and used their own treasuries, or they have raised money to go to war. So there's a lot of different ways that could happen.
Okay, and so what do you think is the right way to do that?
It's an oversimplification question because not everything in regard to warfare or history of civilizations is necessarily right or wrong. It's a question of what might be the best or the worst. So there can be scales. It's not
Would you
all
say that
either or.
there are some things that aren't moral necessarily, some of them are just pragmatic, and then there's some things that are moral?
Everything could potentially be moral, but some things are pragmatic, sure.
Okay, that's basically what I've been saying.
Yeah,
So
but you
we
were
got there.
appealing to the good of a nation state.
You were, again, because you were using the word good in a way that I wasn't meaning it, and even though I clarified multiple times that I meant functional, and I even said, what word would you like me to use to
but
describe this
I
pragmatic
understand that
concept?
you think that saying that because it's functional, it removes the ethical domain, but it doesn't, is the point I'm trying to make.
What
Because the
language-
question that we're debating is whether feminism is good for society or not. That's
Sure.
an ethical, moral
Okay,
claim.
so going back to the chatter thing, how we have to agree about words, okay? You're now essentially assigning to me what good means, and it's
No,
obvious that I'm not
No, I'm doing
agreeing.
an internal critique, is what I'm doing. Do you know what that
You're
is?
assigning to me.
Do you know what an internal critique is?
Tell me.
So I'm criticizing your position on its own grounds. That's an internal critique. That's what happens in debates.
Okay, what word would you like me to use when I am describing this non-moral functional element that is
The
about
one
nation
that
state?
makes a non-moral position makes sense of why feminism is a good for society.
We can get there, but again, we have to.
You're not going to get there.
Well, we can, but you're not even like we're doing
Because-
chatter. We're literally
No,
we're doing
we're
the thing I
at
asked
the point
not to do.
where you don't understand the issue. That's the
That's
point.
not true. All you've done at this point is just like you've basically you're just weaponizing
No, you
Yes.
admitted that the debate is about whether feminism is good for society. That's a moral, ethical domain right there.
Sure, there are some moral elements.
So when you make
and
arguments
some
about
functional
GDP,
arguments.
if it's not moral, then it's not relevant to the debate.
It's absolutely moral. What language would
It's
you like
moral?
to use? I said it's not. There is moral elements and there are some non-moral elements. GDP.
Is the debate today about something moral?
I don't know if I agreed to saying we're only going to talk about epistemics and morality. Good is, again, this word that we're basically doing chatter around, where you're assigning a label to it, and I haven't agreed to
I'm
it. We can
trying to
just-
figure out your position on the good.
My position on
Yeah.
the good is it's holistic. There are things that are good because it's functional, and there are things that it's good
Mm-hmm.
because it's moral, right?
Is the debate today, feminism, about the good of the moral for society?
It's about, I guess, I would like to
Yes.
make the case for both.
The answer, okay. So
Functional
then
and
that
moral.
means that everything you've been saying for the last hour is wrong.
No, because I'm making a case for the functional element too.
But the fact that you're making the case for the functional element too doesn't matter if you're also talking about the moral.
You can make both arguments, and I would like
Correct.
you to engage in.
Right, because the other one is the one I'm looking at, and that's the problem for you.
It's not the problem for me.
Duke's food on the stove and put it in the fridge at night point.
I saw it, but I just assumed that it was thawing.
I know, but like, why wouldn't you feel it and then put it in the fridge?
Huh?
Because now it's garbage.
What'd you say? The fuck did you say, dog?
Like, if you had something out, I'd ask you or like call you or be like,
I just thought it was thawing. It said something.
Moving in.
I just thought it was thawing.
I know, but like you didn't do anything to check to see if it was thawing or anything. You just made the assumption it was incorrect. Wasted me money.
Open up.
As did mom and dad. You're not the only one. It's very annoying that no one gives a shit.
I mean, my
Yeah,
no,
right. No,
The
yes.
problem with this conversation is that essentially what you've done is you've assigned me a bunch of positions that I don't have.
No.
You've done a bunch of circle talk about words. You've done a couple of rhetorical flashbangs, and now we're stuck in the situation where we can't actually talk about the ideas, which is unfortunate because I was
Because
really
you've
looking
spawned
forward.
into you're chasing, like one foot is nailed, and then the other one is going in a circle, like a you're
the
like
issue-
a,
if
like a
you want-
cartoon
again,
character running in a circle.
If you want to like throw Agrippa's trilemma at me, you can, but I can throw it at you too. And if we do that, then there's no point. We're at an impasse. What do you think is good?
The good ultimately relates to God, the highest good.
Okay, the highest good. So is GDP in direction of that or not?
All things that exist are good in some way, and in some way relate to morals. But I do not believe that the GDP is the highest good for society.
Okay, what is the highest good for society?
The health and flourishing of the society, which has to exist within some kind of patriarchal norm. That's the only way that it can function.
Gotcha.
And the ones that don't, they dysfunction.
Okay, and so in your mind, does GDP contribute to any of that?
It's just one component of life, just like, I don't know, the size of the nation's.
Time to press ahead. Bet I can crack that open.
The fuck is the point of that?
Landmass is one component,
Sure, I would agree with that.
but it's not the highest good.
Okay, gotcha.
So, what's the argument that feminism is good for society?
Feminism is good for society at a functional level because it increases innovator scale. I also think it's the right thing to do.
That's moral odds.
Yep, I'm giving you a moral claim now.
Okay, thank you. And why is it right for society?
It is right for society because I think in general we should try to treat others well, and I think limiting people's opportunity by force is bad for them.
Traps.
I don't think God wants that.
Okay, what God?
The Christian one.
Okay, where does he talk about this?
Forcing people to do things?
No, this idea of what the good is for society, because we have a lot of historical Christian societies.
Sure.
Were any of them feminist?
No, but I don't think in general that
Oh.
God advocates really strongly for a political system.
Nothing.
Really?
No.
What about when Israel was organized? Was that a political system? What did they
Like
have?
in 1948
No, in the Old Testament.
in the Old Testament. Was it? Yeah, it was a political society.
How was it organized?
I'm not a Jew.
What does that have to do with whether it was organized in a certain way or not?
It has nothing to do with my claim.
What does the Old Testament say about how God organized that society?
He gave them prescriptions about how life from Moses.
How was that society organized?
It was organized, I believe, in a patriarchal society with
Yes,
matrilineal
correct.
heritage.
And it was a monarchy,
Yes.
a male monarchy. Okay. So, in that regard, God was not feminist, right?
I've never said that God was feminist.
Well, I'm asking if there's a history example of where God organized a feminist society.
I mean, it's interesting because when you look at like ancient Judeo history, if you're not being presentist, it was like insanely progressive compared to like the pagans around them, like the Assyrians and Babylonians.
That's not what I'm asking.
Well, it is what you're asking.
You're calling it progressive, and I would just say it's healthy. So the fact that they,
Sure,
had,
yeah,
the
like
ten,
God,
they had the Ten
God
Commandments.
seemed to advocate to some degree for a better treatment of women than any other society
I
around
agree.
them.
But that's not feminism.
To some degree, you could argue that it is if you agree with my definition, which is like the empowerment.
Well, but your
and
definition is so
promotion of
elastic
femininity.
and broad that it could be anything
But you agreed
except
to
for
it.
what my position is. No, I don't, because I'm not agreeing that Old Testament patriarchal society is feminist. You just admitted it's not.
If you're not agreeing, why did we even define the words at the beginning?
Can
if
you
now you're
name a
just rejecting
feminist
them?
society
I'm not
that
interested.
God
to.
advocated?
I'm not interested to.
You appealed to God.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to treat women well.
Did God ever? That's not feminism. Now you're equivocating.
There's so many things that we need to talk about. We just got to jump right in. But we can't talk about anything until we talk about the dashboard. This is a brand new home screen experience for all things sound.
I'm not equivocating.
Yes, you are.
How am I
You're
equivocating?
changing moving the goalposts is what feminism is.
That's a completely different
so
fallacy.
if God
So am I
has,
equivocating
so
or am I
if,
moving?
if
Hold
in
on,
the
am
law,
I equivocating or
if-
am I moving the goalpost now?
it's both.
It's
You're
both.
equivocating on the word and moving the goalposts to make your position work. So if there's no feminist,
not what
if there's no
equivocating
feminist equivocating on the word,
That's not what equivocating
I know what
means.
equivocation means. Yes, it does. It means that two different understandings of a word. You're equivocating on the word.
Okay.
Feminism, and you're defining to say that if God in the Old Testament gives women rights, that's feminism. That's not what feminism is.
Those shadows. There's power coursing through them. Oddly familiar. Better stay on alert.
I've never seen darkness like this before. It's unsettling.
We've got to push through. Unless a passing griffin offers a ride, it's the only way to Moonrise Towers.
Feminism is a modern movement, post-revolutionary
Then why
philosophy.
did you agree to my definition of feminism?
Because it's so broad that that's fine if you want to defend that against patriarchy, but I'm arguing patriarchy against feminism,
So
and
all
what
you're
you
doing
appeal
now
to
is moving the goalposts by the
you
originally agreeing to a
no.
definition of feminism, and now you're saying that can't work anymore because it's defeating my argument?
the Old Testament God and the New Testament God are the same God, and they never institute a feminist society. And women's rights are being made in the image of God, that women are protected now in that status.
What do you mean
is
by a
not
feminist
feminism.
society? What do you mean by a feminist society?
A matriarchal society
I'm
or,
not
a,
advocating
or a
for that.
non-patriarchal society.
I've never advocated for either of these things.
Okay, but feminism has never been a societal goal in the Old Testament or the New Testament or the history of any Christian society.
Again,
so you have no
I haven't
examples of
advocated-
this.
I haven't advocated for any of these things. I don't need
You
to.
appealed to God as your standard of the ought and
I
the
said it-
right, the moral right.
Yeah, it's a
right?
moral thing to treat
Correct.
women well.
And then I said, give me the examples of where that God ever instituted anything like what you're talking about in terms of
And I
feminism,
said
and there's
in-
not.
that
There's not.
There is, according to the definition you agreed to
No,
on
there's not.
feminism. Yeah, the empowerment and promotion of femininity. Judaism,
That is not what is happening in the Old Testament.
Judaism
That
is
is
the
not.
most progressive approach to femininity of all of the ancient
Modern rabbinic
religions.
Judaism is not the same thing as what's in the
But
Mosaic Law.
you asked for
You
Old
admitted-
Testament
you
examples, which
admitted
I
it.
just gave you one.
That's not rabbinic Judaism. You admitted that it's a patriarchal society that's a
What do you
monarchy.
mean it's not rabbinic? You don't think old...
Where I came from, we would often work exclusively under cover of darkness.
Yes, but you chose darkness. I was cast into it. The sun was banished from my life.
I feel weak.
Forbidden.
Drained.
And we all lust after the forbidden.
Same here.
Don't we?
I feel cold.
Bro, what the fuck is this?
Well, hello. The Atlas!
All right. What now? Don't waste a step.
Testament Judeo, like,
No, it's not.
it's not
different.
rabbinic. What are you talking about?
It's not the same thing as
You don't
rabbinic
think that
Judaism.
the 1200 BC society that was erected by King David
Feel the
wasn't a
shadows
rabbinic society?
They don't
Rabbinic
seem to be
Judaism
harming. The shadow curse. It doesn't seem to affect me like it does others. Not as badly, at least. Do you know what this means? I must be blessed. Lady Shah is protecting me where others are left to face her wrath. She loves me. She must do. resourceful. You'll find a way. Don't give me that look. It's a good thing that I'm resistant to the shadows. This way I can help you. Lady Shah wouldn't bless me like this for no reason. There must be something she wants of me. Those signs we found about Dark Justiciars, perhaps they were no coincidence. In either case, I need to watch for any place dedicated to Lady Shah. A temple, perhaps.
What's inside?
What's that?
Comes out of the 4th and 5th century when the Babylonian Talmud is collected and collated.
So you don't
That's
think that the Old Testament at
is
all
not rabbinic, no.
Okay.
You know how a few changes on your website can somehow take weeks to ship? With Framer, that's over. Because while your site lives here, it also lives here, giving designers and marketers the freedom to update and publish.
And it's patriarchal. So even if it was rabbinic, it wouldn't
fine.
repeat it. Then there's no examples of what you're talking about.
Well, the issue for me is that what you're doing is you're creating a false dichotomy. You're pretending like patriarchy and feminism can't coexist at
Correct,
the same
they
time.
cannot.
Of course they can. We live in one.
Being feminine is not the same thing as the movement of feminism.
I didn't say that it is. I said that
You
we
did.
are.
You said that femininity is promoted in the Old Testament, and you used that as a way to prove your position.
I said it empowered women and it promoted femininity. It empowered women by creating matrilineal lines of inheritance, and it promoted femininity by making a whole bunch of female figures be viewed as these like incredible characters to like look up to, like Ruth and Deborah and stuff like that.
Okay, well, there's
Which, according to the definition you agreed to on feminism, would be feminism.
Then it wasn't, quote, progressive according to your view, because other societies worship the goddess,
Do
and
you
that would be
wanna-
more progressive than what you said.
If you want, we can go back an hour and we can redo
place.
chatter, and you can make a new
There's
definition
a
for
power
feminism.
in these shadows. I can sense it. It's ancient. Familiar.
Stay together. Keep to the light. Stop! Who's there? First, come closer. Hands up.
Jonas, look out! Jonas! Jonas!
I'm here! Where are you? Jonas? Can you see our torches? I can't see anything! Something's wrong. Follow my voice. Come back to the light. Who's there? Meg? Is that?
Jonas?
There you are. Come. Join me.
Jonas.
Don't let it get hold of you. Harpers, now!
feminism that you like more so that you can apply it more narrowly if you like.
You have moved the goalpost.
I have not. I
From
wrote it
what
down.
feminism is.
I wrote it down
to be
and you agreed to it.
anything that. So is the goddess feminism?
I don't know what the
Is goddess worship in the ancient pagan world, is that feminism?
It might be.
Okay,
I'm not
thank
sure.
you.
I don't know anything
So your
about.
view,
Hold on.
so your position is so elastic that it could encompass any
Then
possible
why did you
position.
agree to it?
It's unfault because the way you framed it was anti-patriarchy, and I'm fine
I
with
didn't
that.
frame it that
yes,
way.
you did.
I did not frame it that
The
way.
terms of this debate
You
are
wanna go back an
is
hour?
feminism good or is patriarchy good?
I wrote it down. Do you want to go
The
back
fact
an
that
hour?
you wrote it down just means that you misunderstand what you wrote down.
No,
That's even dumber.
The issue, rather than looking bad faith for no reason,
No,
is
this
that
is good. You don't even know what an internal critique is. So
Well,
I'm not being bad faith. I've been debating for 25 years.
it's
not bad faith.
completely fine to know what terms are, right?
Sure, but in terms of debate, that's like 101, knowing what an internal critique is.
I understand what like consistency checks are. I just didn't use the language internal critique, right? So if we want to go back an hour, you agreed to this idea of chatter, right? How we want to define concepts, agree to them so that we can talk about
Women
ideas.
prattle or chatter? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So if you agree to that, and you agree to the terms, you can change them later. I'm just going to be good faith. You can change them later if you want to. Let's just go back to the terms again and narrow it down to what we can agree to of what feminism and patriarchy means. Because now, like, all you're doing
I
is
gave a very precise definition for patriarchy, right?
Sure, I did
And you
too.
gave a very loose definition as to what you think feminism is, which could encompass conceivably anything that helps women. And that's an ambiguity fallacy.
Then provide a different definition. Don't agree to it.
In my opening statement, I said that I believe feminism is a revolutionary philosophy that destroys society. It was brought about to change society in toto and ultimately to serve into oligarchical designs and people who, and I gave sources. You can read the Rockefeller's authorized biography. They have a whole discussion of Abby Rockefeller funding third wave feminism in Cell 16.
Sorry, how is this not just as ambiguous as the one? It's just a revolutionary.
Just as ambiguous, I'm literally giving you the people who funded it and the actual names of the
That
people, like
doesn't- none
Cell
of this-
16.
I don't know why you're
That's
appealing. I don't
so
know why
that's
you're appealing
ambiguous.
to authority
You
right
didn't-
now. None of this matters.
No,
I'm
that's
asking
not
for
an
a definition.
authority. That's the people involved. It's not an authority appeal.
Yeah, if the people
You don't know what an
who
authority
you think
appeal is.
funded them is an authority for the
I gave
definition
the
of
people
feminism,
involved, like Abby Rockefeller,
that
who
would
was
be an
herself.
authority.
No, it's not.
Then why are you citing them?
It's a person who's in the movement. It's not just the funder.
Yeah, you're appealing to authority.
You don't know what an appeal to, that's a fact. It's not an appeal to authority. You don't know what an
You are
appeal to authority
citing
is.
them
This is so
for a
silly.
definition of feminism.
No, that's not an appeal to authority.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes,
You
it
don't
is.
know what an appeal to authority. If I said my position is true because I cite the Rockefellers, that would be an appeal to authority, and
You're
that's a
saying
fallacy.
this definition
is an evidence,
true
goofus.
because of the Rockefellers. If you want,
No, I'm not. I'm telling you
If
the
you wa-
history of the movement,
that
which
has
you don't
nothing-
even know
again,
about.
I've asked you to define feminism, and now
And
what
I'm
you're
giving you the history of that movement,
I'm
which is
asking you for a
three
definition.
waves.
Why, I don't
Are
know-
there three waves of
Doofus,
feminism?
why can't you give me a definition?
Are there three waves of feminism?
There's 4.
Okay, so there's 3.
Oh, you didn't know that. That's crazy.
So there are 3, correct?
There's 4.
Right, but that would mean there's also 3, even though there's a 4th, right?
That's true. 3 is less than 4.
I
Good
know
job,
that,
Jay.
but the fact that there's 4, there's still 3 that have happened, right?
Irrelevant to anything
Irrelevant.
modern
Wait a minute,
feminism.
is that an appeal to authority?
What authority am I citing right now? I know
Well, you're
really
citing facts that you think are appeals
Which
to
authority have I cited? Name one. Name one authority I've cited, Jay.
You think-
Go. Name one authority I've
You
cited.
don't understand.
Jay,
what,
name
I'm
one
making a
authority I've
joke.
cited.
I'm making a joke because
What's
you
the
think
authority I cited?
appealing to a fact is appeal to authority. Those are two
That's
different
not
things.
true. In
Yes,
fact,
it is.
when you were citing
If I talk
Rockefeller,
about-
when you're
listen,
citing
this is
Rockefeller
so stupid.
as the definition for feminism,
No, the
saying you're
funder is not the
authority.
definition, you idiot.
Then why are you appealing to them in any way?
To prove the history of the movement
Do you know
and
what an
what
appeal
it
to authority
teaches.
fallacy is? Bro,
Yes,
do you know what an
I
appeal
just
to
gave you the
authority
example.
Okay.
I've been debating for 25 years. I know what the appeal to authority is. That's one right there.
Okay, so
See,
when
that's
you,
the appeal to authority
when you
fallacy.
appeal to irrelevant people that sound
It's
authoritative
not
but aren't
irrelevant.
relevant, the history
Do you know
of
why?
feminism
Do you
isn't
wanna-
relevant to you giving me a definition of feminism
is.
that I can operate
Is it a
on.
historical movement?
Can you give me
Is it a historical movement?
Yeah, of course.
Then the history is relevant to the definition, you idiot.
Then give me the definition. You can do it, Jay.
Nice if we can.
Oh my
You can do
God.
it, Jay. I
Maybe
believe
this
in
is
you.
like talking to a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Well, you're a big boy, so this should be really easy for you. Define feminism. Go ahead.
Feminism is a historical movement that's concerned with the rights of women, including egalitarianism, the idea that women and men are equal. If we go back to Wollstonecraft, if we go back to the suffrage movement, if we go back to the notion of women not being married at certain ages as children. So the first wave wanted not just suffragism, but they also wanted to not have child brides and that kind of stuff.
I'm really proud of you. You got
But they
two
also
things.
listen.
One more.
I'm not. Shut up.
We're super
Shut
close.
up and let me finish.
We're
I'm
super
not
close.
done.
Yeah, I
I'm
believe
not
you.
done. They also wanted. Better work hours. They wanted women to have inheritance rights. They wanted women to be able to get jobs and they wanted women in the workforce and to be in positions that they didn't have. So they wanted certain social rights that
so they
women did, like voting, right, suffrage, right? Those are all first wave.
Yep.
Okay. Right.
This is your definition of feminism? Okay, I'm writing it down.
Are you serious?
I'm so dumb.
You
I'm
asked
even writing
for the
it down.
history of it.
I didn't ask you for the history. I asked you for a
You
definition.
said that it's historical.
Okay.
And I'm
rights
giving
of
you
women,
the movements.
I'm not asking for the history. I'm asking
You
for
said it is historical, so I
asking-
have to go
I'm
back to the
asking-
people.
no,
You're so dumb
no.
that you can't consider.
Now we've got to move. I know a safe place. Give me your map. Keep your torch high. If you step into the shadows, you'll be felled in a heartbeat. That's right. Protected by magic. Only spot in the region that's not been swallowed up by this damn curse. Light will save you here on the outskirts, but a few paces deeper you're screwed. If you want to catch your breath, the inn's the only place to do it. Harpers, move out!
Never wanted the easy path. Let's see what this does.
You see an older woman on her knees scrubbing the floor of an inn. The patrons made a mess of things again the night before. In her former life, this girl played in the nearby woods. She was always the best at climbing trees. He had dreams of boarding a ship in Baldur's Gate and seeing the world. But then the darkness came.
Awake and alert.
What path lies before me? What's inside?
Conceive of a position apart
Here,
from
watch.
the people
I'll do something
who came
different.
up with
Watch,
the
watch, watch.
position.
I'll do so. Israel. I can define Israel without
What does this
going
have to
through
do-
the entire history of Israel. Feminism, while it
No, you
does have,
can't. Actually,
yes,
you
of
can't.
course you can.
No,
because
this is
for the
so
sake
silly
of
because
conversation, we
you
have to
admitted
agree
it's a
what a
historical
construct is.
movement. Therefore, it can't be divorced from the people in history.
I'm not asking
Do you
to
think it
divorce
came
it.
out of the sky?
You're
Did it
again,
come into
this is a
people's
false
minds out of the
dichotomy.
sky
This
or
is a
from the
false
people?
dichotomy. You're doing a false dichotomy again.
What are you, dude? You don't
You're,
even.
you're
this is
acting
so
like
crazy.
you're acting like you can't define it without the history. I'm telling
Correct. It's a historical movement by your own definition.
That doesn't mean that you can't make a definition for the word,
Yes,
so
you
we
have
can
to
just
go to
talk
the
about
people.
it.
Where do you think words come from? From people.
That
They
doesn't
don't
mean-
drop out of the sky. They come
Jay,
from people.
Jay, I know you can do this. You can define a word without giving me a 5-minute
you
monologue
can't.
on the history.
No, you can't.
So there's no way for you to define feminism.
Would you go to a
without
dictionary?
history.
That's an appeal to authority.
It's not an appeal
Yes,
to
it is.
authority. Okay, there are appeal to authorities that are fallacious, and there are appeal to authorities that are
Oh,
non-fallacious.
like when I give the examples of the
Rockefeller
funders,
as
the
a
funders of
funder
it.
is not an appeal.
It's not
a
just a
legitimate-
funder. Abby was involved in Cell 16. She's not just a funder.
That doesn't matter. That
It
doesn't
does
mean,
because it came from them.
that doesn't mean that she's a relevant authority to cite.
The one who funded it and got it going at Chicago University is
Funded
not relevant.
portions of the third wave. Yes,
Correct.
that doesn't mean that
No,
she
it
gets
comes
to
out of her money.
No, that doesn't
Millions
mean
of $1,000
Again,
at Chicago University.
That doesn't mean that she's the definer of feminism.
I didn't say she was. I said she's.
You cited her as a definer of feminism.
She's involved in the third wave movement.
What's the definition of feminism, Jay?
Oh
You
my
can
gosh,
do it.
you're so stupid.
I've got 3 things from you so far.
Even do a
Feminism
rational
equals
conversation.
rights of women. Men and women are
You
equal.
admitted.
Labor rights.
I
I've
mentioned.
got 3 things. What
I
else is
mentioned
feminism? We can do this,
inheritance
Jay.
in terms of first wave feminism. I mentioned
yeah.
child age of marriage as another element of it.
Okay, so
in terms of the first wave.
Civil rights. Let's just call those civil rights.
That's not civil rights. It's oh my gosh. It's
How is that
prior
civil
to the
rights?
civil rights movement. You idiot.
That doesn't mean it's civil rights, Jay. I'm just trying to create a way to make this succinct so we can get a fucking definition because you don't like mine, which is fine.
I said yours.
That's why I'm just
yours
trying to
is
now
too
get a new
broad.
one. That's fine. Make your own.
I'm giving the historic. I don't need my own definition. It's your position, you goofus.
No.
You debate
Jay,
positions
Jay,
like when you
Jay,
debated Jim Bob,
Jay.
and you tell people to define your position. This is how silly you are.
No, Jay.
You
I gave
a broad definition.
I gave you a definition, and you
Which
don't
is too
like
broad.
it. That's
No.
fine. Make your own definition, and then we can
I
work
don't
from
need
there.
to make a definition.
Yes,
It's
you
not
do.
my position.
If you have rejected my definition, you now have to supply one.
Yes, I'm going to the people who came up with it. Correct.
Rockefeller didn't
historically.
come up with it.
I said Mary Wollstonecraft in my opening statement is one of the first feminists in modern society.
Do you want to supply a definition? This doesn't matter.
So the people who came up with it don't matter.
They matter if you can
the
get
fuck
to
am I
getting a
playing
definition
right
out of
now?
your fucking mouth. We've got
I've been
3.
giving you
We've got 4
4.
elements of
Thank you.
feminism.
What would happen, dude?
Okay, so we've got
I'm just getting
rights of
fucking
women,
ambushed by a bunch of plants.
like men and women are equal, egalitarianism, labor rights, and civil rights. Is there anything else
And
you would
will,
like to
and
add to that
I've only been
definition?
able to
As we
do
move into
fucking 2
modernity,
attacks.
we get more radical versions of this, particularly with Cell 16,
oh, he's gonna run
which
into it.
becomes almost a revolutionary which wants to engage in radical action
God.
and Skittles.
What the fuck
rights,
is
shall we
that,
say.
man?
So they move into it being Skittles as well.
Okay, so
Now, I don't care if you reject.
trans rights.
I don't care if you reject that or accept that. Because I'm looking at this as a historical movement. Because guess what? Feminism is a historical movement. That's what we're debating.
You might not believe me, Jay. I'm so disappointed about this conversation. I talked about chatter because I was interested in a good
You
discussion.
keep saying chatter doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I did an internal critique and you didn't know what that was. And then I start going to the history of feminism
You're just
and then
saying
you're
stuff
floundering.
right now. You're just saying
I'm just
stuff
saying
right now.
stuff.
Yeah.
There we go.
So going.
Where do
to
you
chatter, the
see
reason I
yourself
asked
in
you that is so that we could have a
2
decently
years?
good conversation, so that we weren't quibbling over the definition of words, and we could actually engage in conversation. If the only way that you can debate for the last 25 years is to just quibble about semantics of words, I'm sorry, you're not a clean debater.
I
You're
just
just
wonder,
bad
like,
faith.
You asked me the last 30
what's it
minutes
feel
to
like
define
when
a word.
it's
So
30?
you're the one that's quibbling about semantics.
I'm
That's
not
semantics.
quibbling. I'm literally not quibbling. I am writing down your words.
Oh, so if you're
and
writing it down.
I'm granting. It's not semantics because I'm just granting your
I thought
definition.
it was semantics. No, it's not.
It's not semantic debating because I'm not disagreeing with you on your definition. I'm literally begging you to just give me one. I'm begging you at this point because you don't like mine. So let's give yours.
I don't care what
Rights
your
of women.
definition is because all I have to do is critique your position internally and points out
You
that
do
it's
have
so
to care
ambiguous.
about my definition if you're going to do an internal critique. That's the fundamental of a fucking internal critique. Is that
Oh, now you
have to
do know
use my
about. So you
definition.
just learned about an internal critique about 10 minutes ago, and
Yeah.
now you're going to lecture me on it.
You're a really good teacher, Jay. What
Thank
can
you.
I say? So
The debate's over.
you do care
She
about.
admitted she's learning.
You
in the
do
debate.
care about feminism and my definition of it because you need it for the internal critique, which you've already
I
acknowledged.
don't care about it because
but
it
now
doesn't-
you've
it
rejected
doesn't
my
act-
definition
oh
of
my God.
feminism.
Yep,
So again, I know being mean to women is
It
your
doesn't-
fallback
Oh,
if you
now
have nothing
there we
else
go.
to
Ad
do.
hominem now. So there we go.
It's not an ad hominem. I didn't say
Being
that you're.
mean to you?
No, I
Being mean to you.
didn't say you're wrong because you're being an asshole. I just said you're an asshole. That's not an ad hominem. My feelings are
Not
fine.
an ad hominem.
No. Insulting people and being mean is an ad hom. You should know this. You can Google it. Google it at home. An ad hom is when you use the insult of a person to discredit them. So if I said, Jay, you're wrong because you're mean, now I'm ad homing you. As a debate bro of 25 years, you should know your fallacies better. You've already been wrong about multiple fallacies.
Really?
And you can't, yes, and you can't define feminism. Do you want to get there?
You've already admitted that I gave you 4 elements.
It seems like you have more.
So
5 actually.
I think that
it seems
you
like you have
actually
more
think
that you want to add.
you actually think like
Or are you happy
maybe
with this
a
definition?
100 IQ person that the way that you define something is you literally just look at a definition in a dictionary and then you just list it out, and that's the definition of the word.
False.
That's
false.
Really?
Yeah, I've never said
Because
that.
I'm giving you the entire
Okay.
context of the history of feminism,
Why?
and you're saying, I need a fucking definition.
Yes.
As we're working through the actual history of it and the definition of
because
what
again,
it is.
to give me
You admitted that it's a historical movement,
that
didn't you?
has nothing to do with you giving me a definition so
You
that we can talk
admitted
about it.
that it's a
Silver
historical
Of course, Jay.
movement,
Yeah.
so the history has to do with it, you idiot.
I don't need the history for you to give me a definition, you
We
idiot.
have to go to the people who are the philosophers of it.
You can just define
Like
it.
Mary Wollstonecraft and her positions.
You can just define
like
it.
egalitarianism.
You can just define it. So
I'm
we can
defining
fucking
it
move
for
on.
you. I've been defining it.
I-
and you just
it's-
keep yapping and
the-
melting down over your notes.
Well, the issue is that it has taken me pushing you to be specific over and over for 45 minutes. We have 5 points now.
Because you don't
for
have
feminism.
anything other than this.
That's false.
How
I
does
gave you
any of
multiple
this
definitions.
prove your position that feminism is good for society? As
Honestly,
a feminist,
can we
you're
get there?
showing us that you're not good for society. So you're actually proving my point as you yap and argue. You're
That's actually a
proving my
great
point.
example of an ad
Yes,
hom.
that is actually.
That is an ad hom,
That is an
actually.
but it's an illustrative ad hominem. Yes, correct.
That's true. It was a very creative ad hom. Okay, so we have 5 points that you would like to define feminism. Is there any other points that you want to define feminism with?
Yes,
Is there
the
anything
people
else?
who funded that also said
Yeah.
that they like the movement because it destroys the nuclear family, gets women in the workforce, taxes the other half.
Very well.
This dark land must be filled with the broken, the beaten, the desperate. The perfect preying ground for a devil who offers a way out for those who sign on a dotted line. I hope we end up seeing our friend Raphael down here somewhere. Help me find him, and you'll find out. When I was taken to his house, I was caught off guard.
What?
Can you come here for a minute?
One sec.
What to ask for.
Sometimes it smells like that outside.
Half of the population and reduces the population because there's less families.
How do you want to summarize that?
Why do I have
destruction
to?
of
You
nuclear
can't remember
family?
what I just
So
said?
feminism
You can't
is-
remember 4 sentences I just said?
No, I can remember. I just want to you're such a, you're just very yappy, and so I'd like to
I'm
make it
yappy.
succinct. Yes, you,
I'm yappy.
to give me a definition, you've had to give me an entire century's worth of history, even though.
Like when you admitted that it's...
I knew you would understand.
Hey, soldier, well, I'm not feeling so good. My engine is getting worse. Feels like it's going to burst out of my chest. I need to find a mechanic. A good one. Well, this thing's going boom. Well, I imagine it's lights out, Big K. And then it'll be just you, your parasite, and the wild yonder. I'm sure you'd manage. But this old girl's got a few things to do before it comes to that.
Let's see.
It's a historical movement, so it can't be
Here's the
it
thing,
can't be
Jay.
divorced from the
You know
historical
what you
people.
could have done? You could have just said, to me, so that we can move forward this conversation, feminism is
Yeah, but I'm not going to
is
grant
rights
you.
of women, men
It's
and
a
women
debate,
are equal, labor
so I'm
rights,
not going to
civil
grant
rights,
you
and trans rights.
The voice of the Absolute is strong here, and getting stronger. I don't know how much longer I can resist it. But it's good to see you're making progress. You took an unexpected route here. You did a brave thing, saving those people in the grove. Not everyone would have helped.
The hurt runs deeper than she's willing to show you.
The voice of the Absolute. Stronger this time. It just doesn't stop. We are being bombarded by waves of telepathic energy. Wave after wave with hardly a breath between them. I almost dare not rest. Each wave a set of orders to the infected. The order for your transformation has been given many times already. I just hope my powers last long enough to see this through.
Simple answers in a debate.
Find a word.
I don't owe you a definition.
Maybe we could avoid some of the insults, and if we can, also allow people to finish their thought. Let's try to.
Okay, are you
not
happy?
do interruptions, but go ahead.
Yeah, are
I
you?
want to know how any of this helps your case to prove feminism is good for society.
Well, we can get there now that we've defined feminism. So destruction of nuclear family is another one that you would like to add to
Sure.
the definition of feminism.
That's why the people who fund it matter, is because they say that.
Okay, I would argue that the destruction of nuclear families is not inherent to most feminist movements and is bad. So I reject that part of your definition.
So the people who want that in society and say that it does that don't matter.
If the gods are watching.
Because you have
They're not the feminism that I'm fighting.
Because you have a definition that is so elastic to make it anything that you think helps women. And that's why I've said you've already lost the debate,
That was
because
pretty
you're elastic.
The
It's not
empowerment,
specific.
well, you define
That's why I asked you
empowerment
that
of women and
statement.
promotion of femininity. So empowerment means things
That
like
is
removing obstacles.
ambiguous.
And promotion of
It's
femininity would be
ambiguous.
like making feminine traits viewed as respect-worthy.
Like submitting to authority in men? Is that a feminine trait?
No. I wouldn't
Oh, so it's not clear. It's ambiguous.
I would say
So it's
submission
dog.
you have to define it.
What?
I would say submission's feminine, but I don't think. it's
Are
to men
you
specifically.
scared that you'll
It would be like
never
to any of
that you might never find a chick?
Yeah, but I don't know. Look, that'd be kind of fucked up.
authority, right?
To any authority.
Yeah.
Are most authority men?
A lot of them are, but some
So
are
it would
women.
be to men.
Nope, it would be too authority.
Keep your distance.
But men aren't a class. Men aren't a class.
But most authorities are men, and they are submitting to that, right?
So?
So it would be.
Yeah, but the idea. Okay, you love semantic.
Wow.
Have to keep going.
Where lies your guilt?
The waning moon.
And I have met few who stand so tall and fearless in the face of the unknown. Be on your way, brave soul.
Damn, dog, it's a white raven.
A fair point. Perhaps this one could assist us. The murdered lie silent. The raven asks, will you be their voice? Forgive me. It has been some time since I spoke to another. This woman tended a bar where she took her patrons, her friends, into her confidence, promised their secrets were safe with her. Yet she turned their words into knives and stabbed them in the back. They died because of her. And to this day, her victims lie unavenged. I have no heart. I seek a record of this one's crimes, written in her own hand. Through it, I can summon her spirit and force her to face trial for her crimes. Go to the distillery, the one she calls the Waning Moon. Find the ledger and bring it to me.
Dude, this is gonna get stupid, man. Stay with me, you fucking idiot.
Better not be cursed.
If you do not...
Everyone hates you. You're disgusting, ugly, loathsome. You should just shut up and die. Pathetic.
That bird's lucky that this is actually interesting. Because I would fucking kill it right now. Okay, dude. Fucking walk with me, you fucking retard.
Watch your back.
No one's stopped me yet. Best be on my way.
No, it's called a debate.
I can do that too. If you want me to just like mock you every time you stutter, we can have a super fun
It's
conversation.
just how debates work. I'm sorry.
Mocking people when they stutter is not.
Rhetoric is part of debate. Yes,
This is not rhetoric. This is just you being.
If you ever watched an Oxford Union debate, they make fun of each other.
I'm fine with you making fun of each other. I would. Okay. Would you like to have a productive conversation too, or do you want to just? Do you want? We can circle the drain. If you,
I'm having a great time.
that's fine. We can just continue to circle the drain.
And how does this prove feminism is good for society?
Okay, so I already said I would reject the destruction of nuclear family. I don't think it's central to most feminism. I think most.
Was it central to Cell 16?
It sounds like it was, but I would say most fourth wave feminists, for example, are not very pro-destruction of nuclear family. In fact, there's like an entire like barefoot pregnant movement within the fourth wave that is very much about embracing being pregnant, being motherhood, and like promoting that as a good thing.
Is that the attitude that most feminists in society have?
I would say a lot of young feminists are directly.
Are they the most?
I wouldn't.
No, they're not.
Most also don't want to destroy the nuclear family.
Well, in academia and in
Most
society
feminists
in general,
want to get married and have kids.
Does this worldview promote, in general, in society, in academia, and in the corporate world, the destruction of the family, or does it
No.
not?
It tends to promote it. Yeah, they want
It
women to be
promotes-
mothers
really?
who can also work.
Feminism promotes women in society in general.
I would say fourth
Women
wave
being
feminism is very pro-mother.
No,
Yeah.
I asked you about the majority of feminism today.
Most feminists are fourth
that's
wave.
institutionalized.
Yeah, most
How do you know-
institutional
really?
academics are fourth wave.
And they want people to have kids.
Yes.
They're not antinatalists.
No, some of them are, but most of them are not.
Institutions?
Yes.
No, that's crazy.
I don't know what to tell you. I've been reading lots of fourth wave
I've been in
feminists.
academia. I've been in institutions.
Me too.
I've never met a feminist in academia or in institutions who thinks that there should be more people and more kids. They all believe in depopulation, the ones that I've met.
That's crazy. I've just met lots of feminists that don't believe that. And regardless, those feminists who are like basically death cult feminists, I'm not interested in advocating for their worldview.
That's fine.
I don't have to own them.
But the history of feminism.
Just like you don't have
and
to own like Protestants or
Most
something.
feminism, right? So you've got a nuanced feminism, I guess, is your take, right?
I just have like a pretty traditional like fourth wave feminism.
Okay, so but it's not historic feminism, right? Or is it first wave?
It's fourth wave.
So it's tied to history?
Of course, because the
Oh, so it is tied to history.
yeah, but the waves,
Oh, but
the
it's not
essentials of the waves is that they're. I've never ever said that feminism isn't tied to history. You've just made that up.
I think we could go back about 20 minutes, so you can do what I do. You know, we go back 20 minutes when you said that the history doesn't matter.
I
and
said
you need
for
a
your
definition.
definition, it doesn't matter.
It-
You can hold
you
frame,
just
Jay.
literally
You can do this.
you have
Jay,
doublethink going
hold your
on.
frame.
Have you read 1984?
You can hold
Have you
your
read
frame.
1984? Right. You know what doublethink is?
Yes.
It's the ability to contradict within a couple minutes.
I didn't
and it just
contradict.
goes-
If you remember, we can roll back the tape. We were talking about defining.
think
and I cared-
definitions are
Can I finish
relative?
my thought, or are you just going to stop me?
Because I'm trying to.
Can I
I'm trying
finish
to-
my
I'm
thought?
trying to hone in
Finish my
on
thought?
what this weird mistake is because it's weird.
Guys, if we can at least, we'll let the insults go. If you guys want to insult each other, we'll allow that. But at least let each other
What?
insult
Okay.
their
Look at
thoughts.
this,
Go
dude.
ahead.
There's 20
Okay.
of them, and I have to
The
fucking
reason
kill them all.
that we went into the history and
Done.
why I said I got
They're
to
all-
the history is
if
I'm
it's
asking for a
attack
functional
first.
definition so we could move past that part of the conversation. I always acknowledge that history was for the feminist movement and it's tied to
Yeah,
it.
I reject that there is a definition of divorce from history.
I've never said that there's a definition of divorce from history. I said I don't
You
need
did,
the
because
history.
you
I
asked
said
me-
I don't need
you
the
asked
history
me-
lesson. I
you asked
don't
me
need the
for that
history
divorce-
lesson.
You
gotta
asked
let
me
me
for
finish,
that.
Jay. You gotta let me finish,
You
Jay.
asked me because you're lying. You asked me
I'm
for
not
that
lying.
divorce. You said divorce from history. What is your definition? That's what you said.
Yeah, I did want the history.
Thank you. So
lesson.
you just contradicted yourself.
No, I
Again.
didn't contradict myself.
You're a
Jay.
machine of
You're
contradiction.
desperate. You're so desperate. You're like, God, how do I get this win? I asked for you to stop giving me all of the history and just give me a definition so we can
I don't
move the fuck
accept
on.
that there is a definition of divorce from history, and you just admitted that
So
you
there's,
couldn't.
you don't have the brain capacity to define something without a 5-minute monologue about the
You
history.
just admitted you can't do that. you
Define
idiot.
Israel. Are you going to go back 3,000
I
years
will,
to define
correct,
it?
yes, because it's an ancient historical.
It's cooled down in here now,
Okay.
so you don't have to keep it open. It's like cold through the whole basement. Oh, are you done with the cigarette
Literally
stuff?
can't say no to that fucking person, dude.
Bob? Yeah?
I'm slipping away. Help.
Take your
No, it definitely doesn't mean no.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Alright, I'll be back.
Yes,
So you
correct.
can't define Israel without giving me a 10-minute monologue.
It's a false analogy because feminism is a
not a false
modernist movement.
analogy.
It's a modern movement.
That
it's
doesn't
not
matter.
an ancient civilization.
That doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, the
You
extent
just saying it
the
doesn't matter
extent
just
of the
shows your
historical
lack
time
of
is not at
intellect.
all a false analogy. Extent
You
being
are
different.
melting down right now because you contradicted yourself
I'm melting
within
down
2
because
minutes.
you said that you had 25 years of debate history and you can't.
And you
You can't get a single fallacy
Look at
correct.
you. You're melting down.
You said
You're
a
Oh my
false-
God, man.
How is it a false analogy, Jay?
What, are you playing
Because
Elden
it's a
Ring?
modern movement. It's not an ancient civilization.
What does that have to do with anything when it comes to
Because
comparing
you
history
contradicted
for
yourself.
a definition?
And in debates, contradictions
Contradicting
are
myself
what
has
make
nothing
you
to do with the
lose.
false analogy. How is that a false
That's
analogy?
how you lose a debate, correct.
How is it a false
Contradicting is where you
so
lose
you
a debate.
can define Israel without giving me the centuries of history. Is that what you're telling me?
I didn't say that. You just said that.
You said it was a false analogy.
You
so what was the false analogy?
you
I never said that.
You said that. So you're yapping because you got caught.
I didn't get caught.
You did.
Again.
You did. You said that history. You said history doesn't matter. Give me your definition, and then you just said history matters. It's part of the definition.
You
contradicted
I did not say history matters as part of.
You
No.
did. Yes, you
Jay,
did.
Part of debating. Part of debating is holding frame, right? Would you agree?
Like when you did that, is that holding frame or what is that?
No, that was making fun of you, obviously.
Okay, right.
So part of debating is holding frame.
Like putting dongs in your mouth. Is that holding frame? I don't.
No,
understand.
that's
Like,
funny.
Is it?
Like we're
Is
all
it?
laughing about it. Yes. Fun of you, obviously.
Okay, right.
So part of debating is holding frame.
Like putting dongs in your mouth. Is that holding frame? I don't
No,
understand.
that's
Like,
funny.
Is it?
Like we're all laughing about it. Yes, it's
Or are
funny.
we laughing at you?
Kind of the same thing. That's kind of what performers do, right? Yeah. So part of debating is holding frame.
Is any of this going to prove that feminism is good for society? Because
We
the more that
literally
you argue,
can't get there because you
the
are
more that
still
you
quibbling.
argue, you make
over
my case.
I'm
Thank you,
not
by the
making your case. Again, just
You
an
are.
ad hom. You
but
love
it's funny.
fallacies. It's
That's a
my
joke.
favorite thing about you is that you cite fallacies constantly. You don't know what they mean and you can't define them properly.
Like how history is not part of feminism,
How
but
is it a false analogy to compare Israel, defining Israel?
Because it's
and
an
defining
ancient
feminism?
nation state.
Why
and
does the-
feminism is a modern political, social, revolutionary movement. They
So-
don't compare.
So why does the extent of the length of
You
history make them
admitted-
disanalogous?
You've already lost the debate because you admitted that the definition can't be divorced from the history, and then you said the opposite. That means you've massively contradicted yourself within the last 5 minutes.
Again, you're just making shit up. I'm glad that the made-up narrative of
everybody
this story.
heard you,
Okay,
so
I'll
that's
do
fine.
this. Jay just lost the debate because he's strawmanning me and putting words in my mouth that didn't happen. Wow, I'm really good at debating. Do you want to go back to the actual conversation?
Sure.
Okay, so why is it falsely analogous when you're saying that to define words you must include the entire history to define the word? Why is it disanalogous to compare feminism to Israel? I asked you to define feminism, and I asked you to define Israel,
I have no
and I
idea
asked you if you could define
Israel has
Israel
to do with
without
this.
the
It's the
3
craziest
centuries of
debate
history.
ever.
And you said, well, it's different. It's a false
Correct,
analogy.
it's a false analogy.
Why is it a false analogy?
Because they're two totally different things. And you already admitted that feminism is a historical movement, and this can't be divorced from the history.
So is Israel.
That's making my point, you goofus.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is.
I'm saying you can obviously define Israel without going through 3 centuries, which you agreed to. That's why you
It's
don't.
a false analogy
You,
because
you
it's
won't define Israel with the 3
it's an
centuries because it's
ancient
just
nation.
long. It's just long.
It's an ancient
Whereas
nation state.
modern feminism only has 100 years, so I,
mean,
can give the history of that, but I can't give the history of Israel to define it because it's too long. Essentially, that's your argument. That's what. Yes, that is your argument. It is not falsely analogous, and also
keep yapping,
comparing
it
2
makes
different
my
things
point.
is the
This
point
bitch
of
talking
talking
about Israel and
It makes
feminism.
my whole case here that feminism is a net negative for society.
Like,
Thank
that's the
you
whole
for
thing about her.
representing.
Honestly, all
she
you're
acts
doing
like
is
she's
making me
on
be like,
drugs.
maybe the
She
red
can't
friends
even
are right and men
fucking
gotta
stay
be
on
out of
par.
power because they cannot keep up. If this is what like 2
Yeah, we
masters
can't keep
and a
up, even though
philosophy
you
degree.
literally
Are you playing
Right.
Siege at all tonight or no?
I can play if you want.
Alright, let me just go to camp and then go to sleep and then I'll save. Oh, shit. Oh, damn the bad bitch. Oh.
Playtime's over, pet. Ah,
I love this time of year. The dickheads start popping up wherever you look.
What do you want, Mizora?
Drop the attitude and perk up your ears. You've got a new mission. Absolute's cult has gone and grabbed one of Zariel's assets. A devil. And a powerful one at that. They're locked up in the cult's fortress, Moonrise Towers. And you're getting him out. Clause Z, Section 13. Should promised soul refuse obeyance or neglect duty, the pact holder shall cast the promised into Avernus as a lemure. I'll make it simple. Will fails or refuses, and he turns to a thick blob of stink flesh and sinks to Avernus. Now, be a good boy and play fetch, pup, or you'll spend an eternity sizzling in the hells.
Mizora's words may be flippant, but they are tinged with desperation. She cannot afford for Will to fail this mission. This may be your best chance to negotiate Will out of his pact.
So you can play this game as these characters, like Will or Shadowheart?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Does that take the place of them, or are you walking around with a clone?
Pretty sure it takes the place of them.
Oh, and what condition is that?
Your mind links with Will's, drawn in by his increasing panic.
What are you doing?
Will relaxes, and your connection fades.
Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favorite pet off his leash? Incredible. You actually think you hold the winning hand? Fine. I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once the mission's done, not before. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favor only upon soul bearer's fulfillment of related obligation.
You've heard of this provision, better known as the You First clause.
Now, to Moonrise, pet. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry.
Damn dog, the one I'm romancing is the only one that doesn't want to talk to me.
something to
That's
ask.
crazy.
You know, I feel a connection between us.
That's just how it is, right?
Like we're
Yeah, that's
two
actually
souls
insane.
walking the same path. You might be a little naive in the ways of the world, but I see promise in you. Ambition. Such a strong word. We have our differences, but we don't have to, do we? I just worry that we're not considering all our options when it comes to our uninvited guests. How many people are infected with them, do you think? Hundreds? Thousands? And they're not just goblin trash. There are powerful people in the worm's thrall.
Haven't you been
Whoever's
like
waiting
trolling
for us at Moonrise
these
Towers
past
controls it all.
couple days in Siege?
But if we can take that
Oh,
control
kinda.
from them,
Somehow my reputation went up.
Well,
retarded?
unless you kill people, I think it will go up. Like, you can go 0-6, it's gonna go up. It's just not since you can't type in chat. It will go up if you're playing standard or ranked, things like that.
that's just the thing. If we control the parasites, then we can order them not to change us. All the power, with none of the tentacles. I'm just saying, there's an opportunity here. If we can control the tadpoles, we can keep ourselves safe and liberate the world from this evil. Dude, it's not often the universe hands you something like this. Of course,
Yes,
this
bud.
all assumes we live long enough to find this moonrise.
I'm just gonna talk
But
to
I'm
everyone
feeling
before I go to bed,
optimistic.
just in case it fucks over some shit. Just give me a few minutes. This the storyline in this with the parasite is similar to a District 9. I just kind of realized.
God damn it! Why did it
Yeah.
have to be Mizora? Why did it have to be Zariel? We're supposed to risk our necks to get one of her assets? What if it's a runaway like me? Or something far worse? Look, Will's happiness is my happiness. I'd sooner see myself a Lemia than him. But it's a bad idea to play games with the devil. You never win. Not ever.
The more bullshit she pours, the more of it I'm forced to swallow. Mizora set me on fiends inside and outside the Hells. She's never ordered a rescue. Gods. She makes a mockery of everything the Blade stands for. Such an asshole. The same thought crossed my mind. I'm only to hunt the infernal, the demonic, and the heartless. But nowhere was it stated that I can't help one. Either we find it, or I'm made a mindless blob clawing at demons on the front line of the Blood War. Yes, unless Mizora actually fulfills her promise and sets me free. I always knew what my future held, and I know I chose right. Thank you for sticking your neck out for me. I mean it. But I'm not going to celebrate till I'm actually free. I can feel Mizora scheming, plotting. She won't let me go without making a fuss. Trust me on that.
I'll give it a shot.
you save and then I'll start the game. Oh, God. I'll start it. You ate your food yet? Alright, I invited you.
You literally
Honestly,
contradicted yourself within,
I think the
within
conservatives
5
are right.
minutes.
Don't go to college, guys. You're
Don't
going to end up
double
like
think.
this. Not good.
I don't recommend people go to college, by the way, because you are the people that teach at college. So you're actually, you're like the college professors I debated, the women I debated, you're like them. So they should go to college if you want them to be in your position, right?
No, if they end up anything like you,
Oh,
they
you
should
want to play
definitely go to
arcade or you want to play standard?
Standard.
You're like, I had a philosophy degree and I don't know what fallacies are.
Did I say that?
Basically,
was that a cut down?
Yeah.
Good one. Try again.
This would be a perfect moment to read a couple chats here. We have Kat, who gifted 50 memberships. Thank you so much, Kat. Guys, W's in the chat for Kat. Thank you for the gifted 50 whatever memberships. Robert Tanner, thank you for the gifted 50 whatever memberships. Thank you so much. We also have Rachel Wilson in the building. Thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. Really appreciate it. And then we have a couple chats coming in here through Streamlabs. Let me get those pulled up. If you guys want to get a message in, it's $99 and up. We have Intel Wild. Oh, it's coming in as a TTS.
Intel Wild donated $100. Not so bright. Do you like BDSM because you were getting spanked
Yeah, that's actually
by
a
Jay?
6 skin.
We need to locate a bomb. Drone has located a bomb. Seconds. 5 seconds. You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Yo, that actually looks crazy. What do you think that's from? Like, do you think it's based off anything?
Yeah, they got Clash.
That's so weak.
Chopping too.
I'm reloading.
It's in that room.
Someone's downstairs below us. Yeah, I can't even see him, dude. This is stupid.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession. Friendly, last operator standing. All friendlies have been eliminated.
Dude, my right lat is so much more sore than my left. I'm just trying to do that one pull-up, I think.
McDonald's has all-day breakfast, right?
Fuck no, dude. I would get that for dinner all the time. Unfortunately, they don't. Like, they might have like one or two things, but they don't have sausage. Like, they don't have McMuffins or hash browns, which is should be criminal. It's funny because everyone asks for it every time they do it. Everyone gets it, but they don't keep it for all the time. Like, even if they said, "Oh, it's gonna take a little longer because we have to actually make it," I'd be like, "Okay, I'll wait." Do you ever have that the wrap?
On Uber Eats, I can get all-day breakfast.
Like hash browns and McMuffins?
10 seconds.
Well, I don't. Well, yeah, I can get that, but I just want the pancakes and the
5 seconds before insertion.
the bacon.
Okay, I did not know that.
You found
Maybe
a
that's
bomb.
just like
Make
a
your way to its
Uber
location and
exclusive.
defuse it.
Probably.
Is there the breakfast wrap where it has like the hash brown, the sausage, and maybe the egg too?
I think so, yeah.
Mine is up. Activating drone.
I love when you inhale smoke and you instantly get a headache. It's really, really cool.
By blue stairs. We're in server. This guy's in server.
Flash is to the left.
Doc is in server. He's over there. Oh.
Look at this fucking faggot, dude. Oh, yo, that was fucking nasty, dude. There's no counterplay to this, bro. Like,
All friendlies have been eliminated.
what a fucking faggot, bro.
Whoa.
Dude.
Dude, I'm getting 2 of those right now.
Dude, someone did that guy got fucking destroyed. Our team sucks, dude. That's fucked up.
You know what I love about McDonald's? Makes well, they let you get free syrup packets, and it's a lot of syrup, dude.
Drone has located a bomb.
Like more than enough.
I remember when they used to make you pay for mayo packets. Because
I don't think I ever got mayo packets.
The fat black chick. Well, that's on me that eats mayo. But the fat black chick would make you pay for them.
Where?
At the one that we went to.
I don't go there
10 seconds.
often, so.
5 seconds to go.
Oh, I think I deleted Uber Eats because it was so expensive.
You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it. Op 4 last operator standing.
Whoa.
Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission
I guess
successful.
they feel bad for us.
How the fuck did he get so many kills and not get kicked? He killed like 3 or 4 people.
Secure the area. Keep the bombs protected.
What the fuck?
Setting trauma pack here. Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for assault.
My beautiful evil eye is ready.
Sweet ass, grab this and try direct.
My evil eye is ready.
Down to 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Op 4 has located a bomb. Get ready to engage.
Evil eye ignored. Impact.
Bomb wire is up.
Are they trolling? Oh, they're on the roof. Wow, he made no sound at all.
Wait, where are they?
Secure. Why does it take so long to crawl, dude? Like, I couldn't even fucking move. Yeah, they're down that hall with that.
One friendly remaining.
Yeah, the teammate just died. There's gonna be at least 2 of them there. Yeah, there's 2 in sight. 1 right there. He's planning right here.
Critical bomb diffuser activated. Located the diffuser, destroy it.
Nice.
Oh fuck, that's a fucking blitz.
Op 4, last operator standing. Mission failed. All friendly neutralized.
Damn.
Yo, he killed his teammate.
Yeah.
See that?
So what, do you do you order from that McDonald's on Kipling?
No, it's usually application, but it's not that McDonald's. It's the one on Weston Road.
Oh, it's probably too far for me.
Protect the bombs.
Come at me! I dare you!
Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for assault.
Wall reinforcements are deployed!
10 seconds left. 5 seconds and counting. Op 4 has located a bomb.
The wall's been reinforced!
Yo, do you see this on the wall? Oh, it's sticking out? Or is that just me? Nice. Why, did he do something? Or you're just bored? Man!
Nice.
Yeah. Terrible game.
They're just gonna troll you.
Op 4, last operator standing.
Oh, through the fucking shield?
Damn. You fucking suck, dog.
Wow, dude. That was such
You
horseshit, bro.
fucking know what I'm saying? So they charge you for mayo packets at that McDonald's?
Just when that manager was there.
It's fucking gay. Charge you for a fucking compliment, dude.
Ah, classic. When you can't defeat a woman, you just have to sexually
Like when
degrade
you do
her
the
and make a joke
dongs in
out
your
of it.
mouth like that? Is that a good example of what you're talking about?
When I'm sexually
I can't defeat a
degrading
woman, so you put dongs in your mouth
No,
because
I said
it's funny.
you can't defeat a woman without sexually degrading her and then making
You know, sometimes when I get a fucking fish fillet or filet of fish combo,
Like relativism.
Usually you can make
it's
jokes about
fucking
yourself that
people.
other
It's a
Yeah, I do.
McDonald's downtown by my
Is it
work.
self-refuting?
No.
They don't fucking. I have to
Is
ask them
relativism
to
true?
put ketchup packets
But depends on what you
in
mean
the
by
fucking
true.
bag
Is
when
everything
I
relative?
take it out. Like,
Yes, but
you
that doesn't
really
mean it's
want
like
me to
subjective.
just eat the fries
It
by
means the same
itself?
thing.
Is
No,
that
it does
what the
not.
fuck
Yes,
you
it
think
does.
this is?
Something being totally relative
Like, why the
means that
fuck
it
do
is
I have to
subjective.
tell you to do that?
No. That's.
It
I'm
does.
sorry.
And
That
by
is
the
like
way, McDonald's breakfast doesn't count as being McDonald's all-day breakfast if it doesn't have hash browns. Because to me, that's 50% of the meal. So that's probably why I don't get it.
philosophy 101.
No, it's correct. Philosophy 101, you would learn that if something is completely relative, then it's purely subjective. It's the same.
No.
Yes, it is.
No,
It's the same,
you're
it's the
conflating
same
subjectivism
content.
to cultural relativism at best.
I know the difference between
The opposite
two.
of
It doesn't-
relativism?
Your position
What do you
is
think the opposite of relativism
you've already now that you've admitted that everything is relative
What do you think
to
it is?
you.
What do you think it is?
It's
The opposite of
There's
relativism.
epistemic relativism. There's cultural relativism. There's ethical relativism.
What's broadly the opposite of relativism?
Everything is relative to your vantage point, your perspective.
What's the opposite?
Perspectivalism.
You
No,
don't
it's
know,
not.
do you?
You're an idiot.
It's absolutism. It's not objectivism.
Relativism is not absolutism.
No, the opposite of relativism is moral
It's
absolutism.
objectivism.
No, it's
yes,
not.
it is.
No, so the
You're
opposite
an
of
idiot.
You don't
You've
know
never had. Have you? I don't know
That's
philosophy.
crazy. That's
Right.
crazy.
I've debated all the top atheists and philosophers, and you
I'm
don't
not gonna
know.
lie. I didn't expect that. You should
The
definitely.
opposite of relativism is objectivism.
It's absolutism.
It means the same thing.
No, it does
Yes,
not.
it does.
Changing mags!
Frost is there shooting at me in the bathroom room with a hole in the wall.
Pussy, dude.
Percussion ready!
What is she with you? Where the fuck is she?
Yeah, I don't know where she went. Fuck is she?
I don't know where our teammate died.
Use.
Is active, protected at all costs. Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
Does that
No, it does not.
You have a problem with words
That's
that you
crazy.
think that two different words can't mean the same thing.
Okay.
Well, they serve
Moral
fries with
absolutism is when you can apply
some of
things
these breakfast
universally.
meals.
Objectivism
Yeah,
is that
see
something
hash
can
browns.
be like capital T true.
It-
These are
you can
not
use
the same thing.
You can use the terminology. You're arguing
These
over
are
an
not the
idiot.
same
Yes,
thing.
they are.
No, they're not.
Moral objectivism. What is that?
Kia, movement that inspires.
Moral objectivism is believing that there's like a capital T true that you can find. Yeah, that's not the same
No,
thing
no,
as
no,
absolute.
no, it's
So
not.
stupid.
Kant is
So
moral
today at work, I
objectivism. You don't know what you're
ordered
talking about.
from
Moral
McDonald's,
objectivism.
right? I ordered the pancakes with the sausage meal, right? They fucking put two knives instead of a fork and a knife.
And what was the food that you got?
Pancakes.
Oh. What the fuck? Dude, that's fucking retarded. You think that's on purpose or they're just that stupid?
I think it's retardation, dude.
10 seconds.
They have Elo again.
5 seconds to go.
Where's the bomb site?
I think it's the same
Bomb
one.
must be located and defused.
Activate control.
Mindset.
Vigil's over near me.
Throwing Selma. Get ready for the breach. Out of ammo.
4 last operator standing. Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
I don't know why people hold that doorway. Every time someone chows me at that doorway, they always die. It's horrible.
Is that there are moral absolutes. It's that simple.
No.
Yes.
No.
What do you mean no?
That's crazy. Can I get more water?
So now she wants to run and get water.
No, I'm not running. I'm actually just, I'm gobsmacked.
Right, because
I'm genuinely
right, because you have
gobsmacked
a
that the Phil
basically
student
you
doesn't
have
know
a,
this.
essentially you have an elementary school level education, and you're
Yep.
actually debating people who actually
Which
know
is,
what philosophy is.
crazy because despite my little education, you still don't know what relativism is versus like absolutism and objectivism. That's fine. We can move
I've
on.
debated the dude from the Objectivist Foundation, the Ayn Rand Foundation, so I'm pretty sure I know.
Again, and you would
And he
know
pos-
that
he presents the
objectivism.
position. You understand that a word can mean different things in different contexts? So if I say that something is morally objective,
I
or
wonder
that it's
why they
morally
call it
absolute,
hotcakes.
or that it's not
need to
relative or
locate a bomb.
subjective, it all means the same thing, even though it's different words. Did you know that?
I don't know, maybe trademark? I don't know.
That's crazy. Okay.
That's crazy. That words can mean the same
Yes,
thing as
that,
crazy?
that you don't have any concept of the philosophical compass is crazy.
The
to me.
philosophical compass.
Yes.
It's
So
a
memes,
server.
meme level philosophy. Yeah.
It's not meme level
It is a meme.
philosophy.
It's a meme.
It's not.
meme level philosophy because you thought that words didn't mean the same thing.
We have a chat coming in here from Robert. 1 second.
10 seconds to go.
Pulled up. There it is. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
Robert donated $200.
5 seconds.
Hey Brian, comment on this discussion. Bloomberg just reported
You must
2 days
locate
ago
and
that
defuse
for
a
the
bomb.
first time ever.
You must recover the diffuser. The diffuser has been recovered. You located a bomb.
Time to make a new door. Stay clear. Look out. It's live.
Reload!
I was behind the wall.
Changing mags!
What lag is that, man? I've never witnessed some bullshit like this, man. Oh.
Friendly, last operator standing.
Can't even fucking hold that, dude.
All friendlies have been eliminated.
Whoa.
That guy sucks, dude.
White men are slightly now less than half of board members at S&P 500 companies. Progress on GDP?
Thank you, Robert. Do you guys want to discuss that, or?
Not. I don't know if that's even true. If that's true, I feel neutrally about it.
Okay.
It depends on like why it's the case, right? I think like
Fuck is
white men in
that,
general
dude?
are being like pretty shittily treated by
Yeah, it's
society
so
right
dumb.
now. I think there's like a fair bit of
I feel
like
like it's dumb
persecution,
that I
so
can't
I
look at
suspect
the
that the
breakfast
reasons behind
menu
that is bad.
on
But maybe it's
non-breakfast
neutral.
hours.
But probably it's bad. But maybe it's neutral.
All right, we have three
Unless I
other
just
chats. Unless Jay, you
type
wanted
it
to weigh
in,
in
but
on
it's
that.
No,
all
I
fine.
agree. It's bad. No.
Sure. We have whatever fan. Thank you, whatever
Whatever fan
Appreciate it.
donated $100. I'm enjoying Jay Barbecue cooking her puppy
Secure the
cheeks
area.
better than
Keep the bombs
Gordon
protected.
Ramsay like a donkey.
Okay.
They like the cheese. That's all. I know.
You guys saw what they said.
Our signature white cranberry Cosmo with handcrafted vodka, used simply pour and garnish.
I know you can't hear something.
There was a nice one that came through about you.
There's something weird going on with the fucking
Sweaters
connection.
coming here in just a moment. Grandma's sweaters.
Grandma's sweaters donated $100. The makes no sense. Feminism is a populist movement where each rep in history interprets the definition. Feminism hold ancient beliefs and utilize history as foundation for their beliefs.
Yep.
Surya in place.
Whoa, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there's some like fucking fucked up with it, right?
Yeah, I just couldn't even get through the door.
Reloading.
Oh, come on. That's some bullshit.
A bomb is located by Op 4.
Lag fucking killed me again, dude. Dude, these people are fucking doing something with the internet, man.
Friendly, last operator standing. All friendlies were
Like,
eliminated.
I was trying to walk
Mission
through the
failure.
fucking, the hole, like the rotate, and it would just warp me back.
It's not a refutation of anything that I've said.
Right.
If you
Well,
guys
I
want to
understand
engage,
that you can't understand
if you want
objective
to engage with
argumentation.
me,
Right.
I'm right here. But if
Right.
you want to keep fighting like some
But you're
ghost
arguing
in,
in
the room,
yourself,
you
in
go
your
for it.
head. It's like a hamster wheel running, and you're
I'm
not
not.
actually in the debate.
I've
That's why
defined
the whole
feminism
chat
multiple
is cooked.
times. I did a lot of
But
labor
did
to
you
get
hear
you to
my?
define
I bet you
feminism.
couldn't restate my internal critique, could you?
Of me?
Yeah.
It was something about how you think that I'm like self-defeating because you think that my definitions necessarily like contradict each other, which they don't. It was just a false dichotomy.
No, that wasn't the internal critique, but good try.
Okay. Do you want to remind me?
You got more?
Yeah, we have Rachel Wilson. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
$100.
Protect
the
the
most
bomb.
merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is kill it. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, first wave feminist. Feminism is intrinsically anti-love.
Found a bomb.
Nice, dude. Nice.
I'm reloading.
Oh my god, that would. If he wasn't there, I would have got a kill. Oh my god, he was shooting at you too. Oh my god. Of course, man. Of course.
Yep.
I
Good job.
Thank you, Rachel Wilson. Appreciate that.
There's lots of camps to a large movement.
So it's elastic, exactly. Thank you.
Yep, to some degree, yeah, we would agree that there's heterogeneity within any movement.
Right. So it can be defined the way you need it at whatever point in the day.
Damn, you can actually see the carbon fiber on that
Like,
shit.
Very
really
broadly, so that you could move it later. And it
And
didn't
why'd
work.
you agree
I'm sorry
to
it didn't work.
Why'd you agree to it?
Because I was setting you up to lose later, that's why.
Oh, it was A/B chess plan. And then it took
And
you
you fell.
45 minutes to define it later.
No, I just let you dig your own hole after
Jay.
45 minutes.
Whatever you need to tell yourself to win.
I bet you 95% of the chat's been free.
I'm sure that this
Because
chat...
everybody's dumb. Oh, really?
No,
So
no,
everybody in the chat's dumb. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't say that. I said I'm sure chatters agree with you. I just don't...
Because you think that my arguments are dumb, so they're dumb.
I'm not super interested in what chatters have to say. Viewers are a very different breed.
Optics and who won the debate is judged by the audience.
Yeah, but the audience
Oh, this time don't fucking die at the beginning of the round, you piece of shit.
Budweiser presents another real excuse from a bud who bailed on hockey. Dude, it's snowing, said Dylan.
I'd say fucking reinforce the
Fucking
wall, but I
dumbass.
did chow, so I can't say that.
Submitted by David A.
I bet the comments are going to say otherwise.
I'm sure the comments on a very right-leaning, decently Eastern Orthodox that has already accepted most of your presuppositions as a show are going to agree with you.
What?
Right-leaning.
Right-leaning?
Yeah. I'm sure that they're going to agree with you, but that doesn't mean that you've won, right? Just like if I put this on my channel and then all of my left-leaning audiences said I won, that's not evidence that I won, obviously.
Are you sure?
Yeah, obviously. That would be like a super selection
Because
bias.
debates are for audiences.
Sure. Did you listen to anything I just said? What's a selection
Secure
bias?
the bombs.
Well, it's when you choose the evidence based on what you want.
That's not a selection bias. That's called...
Well, you're talking audiences, and like my audience would like my stuff. So if they like me, then I think I won because my audience like me. So I select.
Bomb location compromised. Plan accordingly.
Evil eyes ready.
10 seconds remaining.
My evil
Bomb located by Op 4.
Changing mag!
You shooting at? The walls.
Nice, dude.
What?
I assume that was you, fucking retard.
Did what? Dude, we're gonna lose. Oh, I'm about to die, dude.
Last operator standing.
Oh, the strap worked. Yo, fucking kill them, you loser. Bro, if you die, dude, I'm done. Oh my, yo, you fucking suck, man.
I literally have to kill the entire team,
Fucking
dude.
piece of shit, you fucking piece of shit.
This guy's fucking invisible, too.
The audiences said I won. That's not evidence that I won, obviously.
Are you sure?
Yeah, obviously. That would be like a super
Because
selection
debates
bias.
debates are for audiences.
Sure. Did you listen to anything I just said? What's a selection bias?
Well, it's when you choose the evidence based on what you want.
That's not a selection bias. That's called.
Well, you're talking about audiences, and like my audience would like my stuff. So if they like me, then I think I won because my audience liked me. So I selectively chose the audience, is what you're saying.
No. Okay, no. So you know what? Never mind.
No,
Right. You're wrong.
No, that's what it is.
It's crazy.
So basically,
you don't know what any of these words mean. You've really impressed people.
Like
a selection bias
like how the word
in
objective
science,
just means
so
absolute
a selection
in the
bias in
same
science
sense?
means that like a naturally arising population that you are testing might end up having some emergent trait that you think is a construct true of that group, when actually you've already set up the prerequisite methodology to find that trait within it. So my audience is going to like my shit more, and your audience will like your shit more.
That's literally what I just said.
Yeah, but the issue is that you were
but that's what I
defining.
just
You were
said.
defining.
That's what I just said.
No, you said that you.
That's
were
what
selecting
I
for
just
it.
defined, you idiot.
No.
You're stupid. Like I literally just defined the same thing that you said.
Do you think that when you call me stupid, you win?
No, it's a fact.
Like, what's the
No,
purpose
it's
behind it?
factually demonstrated what is the case.
Again,
Yo,
do you
if you
think
fucking
winning?
lose again because of you, dude, fuck it, done. You understand? You understand me? Fucking piece of shit.
Oh, I thought you knew the fallacies. I thought
I
you knew the fallacies.
I do. I just
Oh,
don't
but you
remember.
don't. But you don't. You don't. You know what an internal critique was either.
Do you remember what
what?
the word is for when you selectively you cherry pick your evidence? What's the word for that?
Well, there's two fallacies. There's the sharpshooter fallacy and the gambler's fallacy. So you might be referring to either of those.
No.
Cherry picking fallacy?
It's not cherry picking fallacy. It's got
She
like
doesn't
a really
even know the fallacy.
I do. Yes. But
So
it's crazy.
Go. Your mission is to locate.
Oh. It's frozen.
Is it?
Yeah, I can hear and I can move, but I can't see.
Moving on my screen.
I know I can move and shit, but I can't I can't see.
Great. Got the fucking diffuser too. Shit.
Changing max.
Bomb has been located.
Nice.
Did I hit you?
Killed me, dude.
Yeah, yo, this is so dumb.
Setting up a breaching sequence.
Yo, Ace, you good, yo? You good, bro?
Did I just type something?
Yo, do all F4.
I don't know. I don't think I could see text chat in PlayStation. The fuck, you left the game, dude?
You cherry pick your evidence.
Are you gonna join back?
Well, there's two fallacies.
Hopefully.
There's the sharpshooter fallacy and the gambler's fallacy. So you might be referring to either of those.
No.
Just cherry picking fallacy?
It's not cherry picking fallacy. It's got
She
like
doesn't
a really
even know the
common nerd.
fallacies.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes.
So
But it's crazy.
What's the gambler's fallacy? If you know the fallacy.
What's a false analogy?
What's the gambler's fallacy?
I don't know.
You just said you knew the fallacies.
I know lots of fallacies. That doesn't mean I know every
Well, that's
fallacy.
one of the most popular ones. You don't know?
Nope.
Incomplete evidence? Fallacy of incomplete evidence?
No.
Suppressing evidence? Okay.
I can't think of the word.
That's
It starts
fine.
with a C.
Sure. We have a few more chats coming through. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate
Christopher
it.
Scott donated $100.
Thank you, thank you.
Absolutism is a form. Of objectivism, they are intrinsically intertwined, not so bright.
Oh, you thought words only had one
$100
meaning.
donor said it,
You
so it
thought
must
words
be
only had one meaning. I'm sorry. Sometimes they can mean two different things. It's called a word concept fallacy. Did you know about that one or no?
I should write that one down so that when later you get mad at me for using the word for
Texas sharpshooter, go look it up.
Oh, so I killed you, dude. That's fucking retarded.
Gambler's fallacy, go look it
I
up.
wish I could see what it looked like on your screen.
By the way, guys,
I was just standing in front of you, dude.
But the kill cam, though. Did you watch the kill cam?
13 to 50. We have about 50 minutes left.
Yeah, like on my screen,
Kyla
like,
will
you can
wear
see.
If you
MAGA
pay me,
hat.
if you give me part of that.
I will give you a $2 bill.
If I'm the reward for it, I'm getting some of
You
that.
good now, bro?
But I'll definitely wear the hat.
We'll talk after this.
Yeah.
show. We've got to see if we hit the goal, but
We can
it's
hit the goal, guys.
Great
we can
game.
definitely hit the
50
goal.
minutes. Let's see here. We're all caught up.
We should give $100 to whichever chatter can figure out why Jay doesn't understand what a false analogy is and was incorrect in the use of it.
I know what a false analogy is.
That's true, but then why do you use it incorrectly?
I didn't.
You did, so either you're
Comparing the
lying
nation
right
state
now
of
or using
Israel,
bad faith.
comparing the nation state of Israel to the history of feminism is a false analogy.
What was I comparing?
Use your drone to locate a bomb.
You asked for a definition that was not connected to history, and then, by the way, you said that history is bound up with a definition.
So I asked
Oh,
you
so
if
that's
you
a
could define
contradiction.
Israel. If you could define
You
Israel
said, "Can I
without
do
going
it
through
without
the
going through the
centuries?" And you said,
history?
"Yeah, I could." You
No,
said
I
you-
didn't.
Yes,
I
you said
said-
that you could define Israel without
No, I
going through
didn't. I
the
said I
centuries
have
of
to.
history.
Now
and
you're
then the reason why
lying.
you said that it's disanalogous is you said Israel has too long of a
No,
history.
you just yapped and didn't listen. That
You
I said you
reframe a
can't.
lot.
I said you can't define Israel without going into the ancient history.
You said that I don't want to, and that it's disanalogous because Israel
I
has
said
long history and.
Illusion and
That
Mozzie
would-
confirmed.
Exactly what you
That's
said.
what you. That would contradict what you just said, like 2 minutes ago.
That doesn't matter. I was
It
catching
doesn't
you.
matter. It doesn't matter. So contradictions don't matter in a.
You must locate and defuse a bomb.
So where'd you get your pancakes done?
Just eating cereal. Fucking what is it?
Yo, Monty, go upstairs and just punch that bitch. If you punch it, he can't see you, feel me?
Activating drone.
He fucked up his only chance. Go knock that shit up. Yo, Monty has mirror right in front of him.
Loading new magazine.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession.
What happened there?
Op 4 last operator.
Ace, I'm so sorry, bro. I literally just got scared of you.
The diffuser has been
I am the Juggernaut.
Dude, I hit that guy so many times and he just walks it off.
Debate.
Your
So thank you.
contradictions matter, yes.
Oh my gosh. You just admitted that you contradicted, and now you're saying that I'm.
No, I did not.
You did.
No.
You said they don't matter.
No, I said that when you were trying, when I asked you to define Israel, I asked if you could define Israel without going through these centuries of history, and you said that you
no.
could.
No,
and then
I said
asked
no.
why.
I did
you
not.
said that you could.
You're lying.
and
I
then
said I didn't.
The reason why it was a false analogy
Look
is
at
because
you.
you
You're
said
losing
that
your
the
mind.
extent
You're
was different.
crazy.
You
can't
forgot.
hold your
This
claim.
is crazy.
Like
This is crazy.
I said you can't because in the same case as feminism, you can't.
You know what? If you want to retroactively change your claim and correct it, fair enough.
There's so many things that we need to talk about. We just got to jump right in. But we can't talk about anything until we talk about the dashboard.
Do you ever have the feeling that
No.
your life is just going to end badly, or it's just not going to turn out okay?
I don't think it's going to end badly. I think it's just going to be spread out, which I would say, I would argue.
What do you mean spread out?
Well, when you say end badly, what do you mean? Like at the end it's bad, or just like what do you mean? 'Cause I think I think the last 10% of something being bad is better than it being spread out for the middle 60 or 70%.
Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think they have mirrors.
I don't know if they have a frost trap.
It's interesting that you that drone has to move forward all the time.
Reloading. We can push forward.
I opened up that little hatch. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Yo, use the floors to get that mirror.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession.
I hit that guy like literally at his feet with the drone, and he just ate it.
Because it wouldn't work
No,
for my
Jay.
argument if I said
agree.
the opposite.
That's why it was stupid of you to say.
I didn't say that.
Yes,
I
you
said
did.
that neither feminism nor Israel could be defined apart from their history.
1% on their team.
You said that.
And you're
Israel?
lying.
Yeah,
right
boys.
now.
No, I'm not. You said that.
It's been real.
If he aimed him right when he got up, they probably would have killed him.
You are lying.
You said that you
Flat
wouldn't go
out
through
lying.
the reason
The
why
whole
these were
audience, by the
disanalogies.
way,
The
this
reason why
shit
these were
is
disanalogies.
Dude, they got
is
3
go through the
people on
centuries of history.
PlayStation on that team. They're so beating us.
Well, we're still winning, but yeah. Well, some of the The best controller players can go toe to toe with pros on PC, so it's not completely chalked if you're on controller.
Secure the area. Keep the bombs protected.
Alright.
What?
New feed active.
Come on, bro.
Heartbeat sensor activated.
Be advised, Op 4 has found a bomb. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds left.
Hey man, he's on 3. Can't be too mad.
Bomb located.
Oh, shit, I'm lagging like fuck. Yeah, can you open hatch, yo? Oh, you did, bro. Good looking. Don't touch my shit, buddy.
Holy shit, dude! I saw him running towards you.
Well, hey man, if he's playing a utility op next round, I know what I'm doing, cause he can't fucking do shit to me.
History for Israel because of the extent and this is what I
Look at the scoreboard. We all have friendly
one has
fire.
long history and one has
You
short
just
history.
misheard because you don't listen.
I didn't. Maybe you misspoke.
You can't
I
understand
can grant
the
you that you
debate.
misspoke. Maybe you
No, I didn't misspeak.
You obviously did.
I didn't misspeak.
You obviously did, but
It's disanalogous because the two things are different. Separate from that, I said that I can't define
that's not what
Israel
makes
apart
it
from history.
disanalogous.
You don't even understand what I'm saying.
You can compare
It's like
two different
this
things.
is
The
like
thing that
talking
I'm
to a
comparing is
child.
defining
Op
things without
4,
their
last
history.
operator
And you
standing.
said that I could
No,
define Israel.
we must lose the round.
That's fair that you misspoke.
No,
It's
I didn't
fine.
misspeak.
Okay.
You just don't listen.
Okay.
We got
Disable
chat
it.
coming through here. We got Alan Bird. Night. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Knight donated $100.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Knight, please remove any
Disable the
text
bomb
from your
diffuser.
Twitter
Good
banner.
work.
You're not worthy
Mission
of
successful.
feminism will help with the after curve.
My favorite thing is dumbasses who think that I have up there because I like Andrew Tate. It's clearly a meme. It's obviously a meme.
Earlier on in the discussion, you said that feminism is unavoidable. I think during your opening introduction.
Unavoidable and necessary, yeah.
Do you want to get into that a little bit? Like why, I guess, why is it unavoidable?
I think because as nations grow, essentially,
Destroy the
eventually
alibi
you will want
drones.
women to join the workforce to be able to compete at like a global scale, and therefore it becomes inevitable because you need women
picked
to join
Century,
the
dude.
workforce. And as soon as women join the workforce, they now have way more leveraging power by
Hey, he
having
still
money and
has
certain
shit.
rights. And once they have those rights and
Oh my god, dude.
Secure the bombs. Op 4 has located a bomb. Plan your defenses accordingly.
Yo, you're such a troll, dude.
Hey, well, you're supposed to close that, but yeah.
10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for hostile action.
Set your mind.
Where'd he throw it down, dude? He's looking, dude, the way he looked at it.
Close the door, close the door.
I'm not letting him through.
You have been spotted by hostiles. Fall back.
Yeah, let's go, let's fucking kill them.
Nice, there's another guy repelled in there.
One friendly remaining.
When we get another round to troll, dude. Oh my god, that's sick.
I feel bad for the guy who's 9-2.
Yeah. He did kill me, so.
Op 4, last operator standing.
Oh no, this guy's gonna fucking win, dude.
Yeah, the guy, he's fucking 1 and 3, dude. Like.
Successful.
Oh well.
Those leverage powers, they're necessarily going to leverage that power to give themselves more freedom.
Bit of a commendation, dude.
I don't. What are you asking right now?
If it didn't exist for thousands of years in history, then it wasn't
It's
necessary.
an interesting head.
I'm pretty sure you literally said that multiple countries fail because of like liberalization. So
I'm
yes,
just asking you.
liberalization and giving women more rights.
Did
over
it exist
time
for
exists
thousands of
in
years
history.
until modernity?
Not all the forms of it.
Okay,
because
so
we
then
didn't
it's
have
not
the
necessary.
technology.
It's not inevitable.
It's
Thank you.
absolutely necessary at this point because
If
in
it didn't
2025,
for thousands of years, then it's not necessary and inevitable.
I'm
You
going to
idiot.
teach you something crazy.
You're not going to teach anything.
Over time,
You're not going to teach
technologies
anything.
develop, which means that the way that
You're just
the
yapping
Romans...
and talking and asserting things.
You gotta let me talk.
Hey,
The
have
way
you
that
not
the
in my
Romans
party?
worked their
Oh yeah,
world
because
is
you
not the way
left.
that we can work our world, obviously, because things
Then
like
it's
Yeah,
not
remember you had to
inevitable and it's not
join.
necessary.
It is inevitable.
Was it necessary and inevitable in Rome?
And if I leave, I'll get suspended.
Just let her finish. Let her finish. Go ahead.
Okay, this, for example, if you don't update to technology, your society tends to fall behind.
None of this is
so
relevant.
technologies that made
Let her finish.
so technologies that make feminism necessary and unavoidable would be
You're in
things
a
like
match?
tampons and things like
Yeah.
birth control. This is absolutely
watch on
true,
stream.
and they're never going back in the hole. We're never putting the Colgate back in the fucking tube. Right?
wow.
So Poland is a great example of a country that didn't update its technology and
Does your neck, your discs or whatever still hurt?
Secure the area. Keep the bombs
Not as
It's
protected.
not
bad
the
though?
discs.
Does it make your muscles like in your back hurt or just the joint?
No, it's not just the joint, it's the muscles. Ah.
Be advised, a bomb location has been compromised. 10 seconds left.
Shield going out.
5 seconds and counting.
Fucking that shit. Just gonna watch you play.
Located a bomb. Get ready to engage.
Ceasefire! Ceasefire!
You there, dog? You okay to just keep streaming?
as a result, it got stopped. When the beginning of, I believe, World War I or World War II, they invested in cavalry because the Polish cavalry was like the greatest thing, the Winged Hussars, everyone loved them, but tanks became a thing, and they got absolutely, utterly dumpstered and destroyed, which is why for societies to compete at a global geopolitical level, you have to keep up with technology. The reality is that China wants to win over America, which means they're going to allow women into the workforce, they're going to give them tampons, they're going to give them birth control. You have to
None of that proves that it's necessary and inevitable.
it proves that it's necessary and inevitable because the technology changes at a global level, and for you to compete at a global level, you have to allow women into the
So
workforce.
she just yaps. This is like her whole thing is to just yap. If it didn't happen in Rome, then it wasn't necessary and inevitable. And that proves my point.
Do we live in Rome anymore?
Oh my gosh, are you serious? You're that stupid.
Do we live in Rome anymore? Or
You said necessary and inevitable?
Yes.
Was it necessary and inevitable in Rome?
Again, the or do we live in Rome? Do we live
So
in
that it wasn't necessarily inevitable.
are the technologies?
Can you follow an argument that isn't just
can.
yapping and asserting your position?
Jay, can you
It's an
follow
argument.
me?
What's the argument?
It was not necessary in Rome because they didn't have tampons.
Then it
and
wasn't
birth
necessarily
control.
inevitable. Thank you.
It is inevitable because we now
Then
have
it's not
tampons.
necessary. You just said it's
Do
not
we-
necessary.
Tampons exist.
That refutes your position.
Do tampons exist?
No.
Did they exist in
No,
Rome?
they don't exist.
Did they exist in Rome?
There are no tampons.
There's no such thing as tampons.
No.
Okay, great. If the tampons, did they exist in Rome?
No.
So tampons are not real.
Correct.
All right. Well, if we're
There's
doing,
never
if we're
been
doing this type of debate, I guess that's true. And the sky's purple, and I'm a 12-foot hippopotamus.
We have some chats coming through. We have Flower Pod.
15 seconds left.
Flower Pot 91 donated 100.
Op 4, last stop standing.
You two just
10
need
seconds
to
to
bang
go.
already. You are obviously secretly in love.
I'm married.
I think
I'm
they're
also
both.
5 seconds left.
Thank you, though, for
Op
the
4
message, Flower
eliminated.
Pod.
Mission successful.
We have Lucas here. He says, "Dear God, is this the exemplar of today's U.S. education system? This woman is an amalgam of feckless, vapid
Chatter
ineptitude
said it.
combined
Must be
with
true.
unearned high self-esteem." Do you want to respond to that, Kyla, or?
I'm Canadian.
Huh?
I'm Canadian.
Oh, right.
Even worse.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Actually, Canada has like one of the most competitive education systems.
No, it's worse because it produces.
Does your dad have
We
any
have Intel
tips
Wild.
on how to get
Thank you,
chicks,
Intel Wild,
dude?
appreciate it.
Intel Wild
Thank you.
donated 1.
No, he didn't have to fucking do shit. Dude, who would choose a shield over a fucking C4? That just makes no sense.
Secure the bombs.
Captain America, do dog.
Op 4 located a bomb. Protect it. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds to insertion. Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for hostile action.
Placing a razor blue. Razor wire off.
No time to wait.
Oh, I'm garbage. Oh my god, dude. Fucking hate when that happens, man.
$100. Not so bright. You look like you have gained some weight lately. Moo moo.
Mission critical. Bomb diffuser activated.
Yeah, I just finished my bulk cycle. So I'm about 15 pounds heavier than I am, and I'm about 120% more muscle than I want, and I
Is that
started
part
cutting
of
2 days ago.
feminism?
That has nothing to do with it. I'm answering why I'm fat right now.
Are you building muscle bulk or fat
Yeah.
bulk?
No. I just said I gained 120% of the muscle that I'd ideally like to maintain after my.
Okay, that's why I said, is that part of your feminism regimen?
Nope, it's just part of muscle. Touch.
All right.
You would not know about it.
Mission failed. All friendlies were eliminated.
$100. It's not too much to demand definition for the entire topic of the debate. A good faith debate is contingent on being charitable to the other's intention. Gay sophistry to secure W is lame AF.
That's true. It is.
You got one fan.
It is pretty gay.
Good job.
Is this directed
That's
at Jay?
crazy. You knew that was about you. Oh my god. Thank you. That's so fucking funny.
Dude, you're so cringe right now.
He's like, I know that's me. I'm doing the gay sophistry. That is so funny.
Well, if any of you want to get a chat in, it's $100 for a TTS.
And
You
remember,
can do that at streamlabs.com.
If you put in enough money,
Yeah.
I'll wear a MAGA hat.
Yeah, let me see where we're at.
Secure
on
the
that.
area.
So
Keep the
we're at
bombs
17
protected.
of 50, so we need 33 more to hit the goal. We got about 45 minutes. You got to do 10 and over super chats over there on YouTube. Or if somebody does a champagne pop, we'll just do it right away. So
Is that like a big donation?
yeah, it's through Streamlabs. They have to
Bomb
they
location
do it through
compromised.
Streamlabs. Or
Plan
we have
accordingly.
Crystal here. They have to do one Ethereum. So that's another option.
One Ethereum.
One Ethereum.
Reload! How much does that worth now?
It's like, I think 17, 1800 around there.
Holy shit.
It went
Down to
down,
10
but
seconds.
It's a little back up. So
You're high class. That's expensive.
I've done some Crystal.
Down to 5 seconds.
Liquored up. So, okay. I would like to continue on a little bit with the debate here. Do you guys want
located a
to
bomb.
shift the prompt? We can talk about patriarchy specifically. We could
Pick a
talk
word and we'll fight about the definition for another
about, you guys
45
want to talk about
minutes.
immigration or something?
I'm reloading!
Dude, why do I smell coffee? Fucking so strong. Holy shit.
Don't you say that your mom like drinks coffee at night or whatever?
Yeah, but I don't smell it when she drinks it. If I smell it like it's in the air, I don't know why.
Did it ruin some?
No. This smells different. It smells like old coffee, like fucking 2-day-old coffee.
Oh, it's just your brain having a stroke.
Op 4, last stop standing. Op 4 eliminated. Successful.
No.
No?
Not
Okay.
really.
Well,
I didn't prep for immigration,
Yeah,
so
no,
I
just
wouldn't want to
throwing
talk
it
about
out there.
immigration, yeah.
I'm just, at least with a feminism related topic, trying to think here. Any suggestions?
I mean, we could talk about whether or not you think it's biological or not that men have an innate role to lead or not. Because when you debated Jim Bob, you seem to think that soldiers are who puts on a costume.
What?
You said that a soldier is anyone that wears the costume of a soldier.
Locate a bomb.
I'm pretty sure I was making fun of Jim Bob when I said that. I don't
No,
think
you
anyone
were arguing that there's no difference between a soldier who's a man and a soldier who's a woman because anybody who puts on the uniform becomes that, right?
I feel like you must be citing Ken. I think Ken was somewhat equalizing
No.
the genders. What are you asking?
No, you were
just
arguing
ask me the
about
question.
whether or not men should be the frontline soldiers. You and Jim Bob particularly were going back and forth.
I'm
right?
fine with men being frontline, so why don't you just ask me, rather than putting words in my mouth, just ask me what you want to
I
ask me.
did just ask you a question. I said, do you think that there's a gender or natural component that men have that makes them leaders and
5
women
seconds to go.
not leaders in general?
You found the bomb.
Yeah, to some
Make your way to its
degree.
location and defuse it.
Launching drone!
Oh,
Activating adrenaline surge.
Setting up recon.
Imagine being a maestro and being that stupid.
I'm reloading. Grenade out.
Launching drone.
1 op 4 remaining.
Boosting adrenaline. Reloading.
Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
Yes, and then I think that gets reinforced culturally as well.
What does that mean?
What's the biological pieces?
No, what do you mean when it's reinforced culturally? Like what?
Multiple things. It would be multifactorial. So
Dog, did you get your fucking pancakes?
fancy word, I know. Very
Right.
spooky.
I don't know big
no, I
words. Go
didn't
ahead.
order.
You do. I'm sure you know what
No,
multifactorial.
I don't.
What does multifactorial mean, Jay?
Make
I
your
don't
argument.
fucking spend money on it.
Sure.
That fucking
So when I say
cereal, I just put
in a
maple syrup on
cultural way,
that.
I mean
and
things
eat
like
it.
epigenetics.
What kind of
right?
cereal?
So I think when we have a culture that reinforces certain things and makes people more successful as a result of those expressions,
some
we'll
shit.
also reinforce it
Wait, what?
through epigenetics. It'll turn.
Ease?
You need to use your drone to locate a
ETs?
bomb.
Don't know if I've ever heard of it.
Drone has located a bomb.
Faggot won't fucking try pancakes with fucking syrup.
Don't have fucking
10
water
seconds.
that shit.
Fucking piece of shit.
5 seconds.
Soggy pancakes, bro. Might as well just fucking
Faggot
drink
thing.
it.
You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Yeah, I'd rather have an extra steak than have pancakes, so I'm good.
Faggot. Why does it have to be one or the other? If you
If I
live
have
in a
steak
world
and
where you
pancakes,
can have
I might
both,
as well
you fucking piece
yeah,
of
I'd rather
shit.
just have 2 pieces of steak than a steak
Fucking
and pancakes.
faggot.
Big brothers incoming.
Changing mag! Loading new mag! Loading!
The diffuser is no longer in your possession. The diffuser is now secure. 1 op 4 remaining.
I don't exist. I don't exist.
Bomb diffusion initiated. Protect
Let's see
the
them hide.
diffuser.
My life isn't real. Not real.
Knock down another wall.
Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful.
So you're not gonna play anymore?
I'm just gonna watch.
them on
Play
more
whatever you
often,
want, dude.
but also then it builds a cultural, social identity of like what it means to be man. And that's both testosterone and neurochemical, but it's also slightly epigenetic, right? But it's also on top of that, it's things like culture and society and what we do.
So there
together.
is a component that's biological, that's genetic,
Yeah, of
but there's
course.
also a component that you think is cultural.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's natural and biological, why ought we put into place a position or a system that is counter to that, that would make that positioner system unnatural. That's what I argued at the beginning, trying to make that point again.
Because it's not just biological, right? And I think
But
Yo,
the
dog,
fact that it's
I'm
not
a
just doesn't
breatharian.
address the question that's being asked.
because by limiting people arbitrarily,
That's a parse-hole fallacy, by the way. Do you know that?
because by limiting people arbitrarily, I think you decrease your.
It's not arbitrarily.
It is arbitrarily. So, for example,
You just admitted.
You what?
I do not. I take air to absorb nutrients.
You're out of range. Get back to the mission.
Think of that, dog.
Your mic cut out every 2 seconds, so I can't.
Nice. Fucking faggot. Did you hear that? You hear that? You fucking faggot.
A quick 2. Hostiles are at the.
Can't even see this guy, bro. It's barely positive. Can't even see him.
There's gonna be a new COVID virus coming out of India.
Stay focused. You've wandered away from your target.
Dude, this shit is so slow now, yo. It used to be such fast paced, now everyone just fucking camps.
You have 2 minutes. Enemies are making progress.
What?
Double elimination.
Said I'm better.
Saying that through me?
60 seconds remaining.
What's your obsession with winning?
You're on a streak. Seconds remaining. Hostiles are close to objective. 15 seconds remaining. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds remaining. Time expired.
That there's a difference, so it wouldn't be arbitrary.
It would be arbitrary. So say, for example, well, you don't want to don't do ecological fallacies on me, right? So if we have like a bell curve, right, of men and women, and men tend to be a little bit more extreme, and say we're selecting for a job that's purely
So you're
about...
repeating the first 20 minutes of this discussion and ignoring what I just asked you.
If you want me to respond to you, I can. If you want to just like bloviate,
But
sigh,
you're
and be
not
angry, we
responding.
can do
You're
that.
you're just.
I'm trying to
restating
give
the
you a
first 20
response.
minutes.
I'm trying to give you a response.
It's not a response.
Okay,
It's
I can just sit
repeating
here
what
and you can
said.
be
So
like,
it's like a
mad at me.
machine.
Fallacy, fallacy. Or do you want me to respond?
Best thing you've ever said.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by the one and only, the human turret, one of the best ARs to ever do it. Give it up for the world champ himself, Sam LaRue Octane. We got some of the best analysis in the game. Angle responsibility. Give it up for the world champ himself, Christopher Duarte Parasite. We got the multi-world champion, a multi-champion, a legend, an icon to the Call of Duty space. Give it up for Patrick Price Sakes. And then, of course, we got the one and only, the executive producer of The Flank. Give it up for Benji Nassim. Benji, talk to me, Benji. You're looking good, Ben. You're looking good.
Yeah, you know who wasn't looking good today, Tom?
Who,
New York
Benji?
Knicks, bro. The New York Knicks.
They lost, Benji. They lost.
Oh, it was bad.
It's going to come out that your dad is the happy face killer.
People are like into true crime. He is.
Tom, it was bad.
That's not good, Benji. That's not good.
But you know what is looking good is my fantasy team. Shout out Mercules. Let's get it. I'm excited to talk about the matches.
Yeah, so you got Mercury's last pick, right? Like for your substitute?
No, fourth round. I actually jumped around to
Oh,
get Merc.
Benji.
I wasn't going to wait till last round. I want to make sure
you
Merc,
think
I
you're
got
him
Merc
right now, huh? You think you're him because of that. Now, that's a good play, Benji. You know what I mean?
Finesse a little, Tom.
Nah, that's good work from Benji Nassim. What about you, Sam? How you doing over there? You feeling good? You all right, brother?
I'm a victim of Ben's fantasy team.
Oh, no. What happened, Sam? What happened?
I'm playing him. He's fucking railing me. Jamar Chase is putting 55 on my head right now.
Yeah, I think Sam said before the optics series, I need Merc to get pissed on, and yeah, the exact
he did
opposite.
the pissing on.
Yeah, he did the pissing on. The exact opposite happened. So, you know, we'll obviously get to that one. But what about you, DeFarte? How you doing over there, brother? You doing all right?
I'm good. Can't complain. Been excited to watch Optic play this week. You know, they didn't disappoint outside of that first match, but my boy Merc, he's, you know, proving everybody that there's a lot of talent in challengers, and yeah, he's a fucking beast. So
yeah, he's
I'm excited
insane.
to talk about it.
He's fucking insane. I'm excited to get into it. What about you, Pat? How you doing over there, Pat? You doing all right?
Doing good, Tom. Talking to the crowd. Barto, is everybody in challengers your boy?
No, I have a lot of friends down there, but me and Merc are
I
we're
swear,
good buddies.
everybody that's came up from challengers is like your guy, bro.
I mean, I have a good eye for talent. It is what it is. Yeah, me and Merc would play. Merc would play a lot of ranked, and then he just comes in my chat every once in a while and just yaps.
You could say with Chris Parasite, when in regards to challengers, he's never wrong, just early.
But
Yeah,
have
I've
you ever
definitely been wrong
dropped
about a
Merc,
couple
though?
people, but
Have you
I'm
ever
not
dropped Merc? Have you ever dropped Merc to Duarte?
Did you drop him? Did you drop him?
I might have dropped him. I might have dropped him. No, first of all, I didn't just drop Merc. I blew up the whole Stallions roster. I told the Stallions the Stallions are no more. So go find another team. That's what I told him. I didn't just drop Merc because he was on the. We obviously thought Merc was a phenomenal player. We just, you know, we dropped the whole roster. It's what happens when people bust my balls and I lose composure. But hey, shout out to Merc. I think we've all known. Chris, I think we've known Merc has been a good player for a while now. You know what I mean?
He's got his come up is kind of crazy. It's probably one of the more impressive ones we've had in a short while.
Look what happened. He goes to the Stallions. We dropped the Stallions. We dropped the whole roster. Look at him now. Guys on Optic Texas flourishing. It's a beautiful fucking story. But Pat, how you doing? Pat, you doing all right? Pat, I know we're playing each other in fantasy, and that's not looking too good for me, Pat, is it?
Yeah, I'm kind of having my way with you in fantasy, Tom. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Have you ever won
I don't expect that.
Have you ever won a fantasy this year, Pat? Have you ever won a fantasy?
I have not, Tommy. Have you though?
I have, Pat. I have. I couldn't remember, but it's coming to me now. It's coming to me. I actually
This
did.
may be my stage to win.
Hey, Pat, listen, if I don't make it to playoffs, I'll be rooting for you, Pat. I'll be rooting for you. Absolutely. All right, let's hop into it. We got 4 matches to cover today. Man, what a very competitive day of COD, huh, guys? I mean, these matches were close. Let's hop into the first series of the day. We got the Miami Heretics going up against the Cloud9. Miami were able to take this series 3-1 over New York. Only map that Cloud9 was able to win was the map number 1 on the Volt hard point, 250 to 222 in that one. Good plays coming in from Cloud9, but after that, it was easy sailing for Miami. They continue to fry in S&D. I think that's 6 in a row now for Miami in Search. I think ever since picking up Super, I think I saw a stat that they're like 12-3 or something in S&D. So these guys are moving in that game mode. 6-4 on the dealership S&D there. Then we get to a Vault control. Miami win that one 3-0. That one wasn't even close. And then the Skyline hardpoint 250 to 204. Miami sweeping the next 3 maps. After that map 1, we'll scroll down and take a look at the stat sheet in Omaron. First series of the day. We already got a red carpet, ladies and gentlemen. We got a .88 from Capsule, a .88 from Kremp, a .94 from Civ, and a .9 from Spart. Everybody negative for Cloud9. On the other side, it's the opposite. Everybody in the green. You got a 1.23 from Super, a 1.11 from Rencor, a 1.11 from Real, and a 1.0 from Metals. We'll take a look here at the match MVP. It's going to be Super with a 1.17 in hardpoint, a 2.25 in Search, and a 1.22 in Control. Listen, this guy Super can play, man, especially when it comes to S&D. This guy is unbelievable. Chris, we'll start with you. I hear you making some sound noises over there, some sound effects. What's going on?
He averages like a 2 KD in Search. Like I just couldn't tell you how many S&Ds he just sits there and drops double digits on. The guy's fucking insane, bro. I mean, dude, I think I think have they lost 1 S&D online, and then like I think the other 2 are at LAN, but they're undefeated online, so they've all come from LAN. Like even then, that's still fucking insane. Like these guys are. I mean, they haven't really skipped a beat. They look like they're pretty much the same team that they have been in the last qualifiers going into this major. So, I mean, if they perform up to their expectation, like these guys can easily make another Sunday. They're just a good, well-rounded team. I was kind of scared for them after that first map because C9 came out, and won that, and they looked like pretty good. But they put a stop to that real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Cloud9, they did come out hot. They come out hot and won the map point. Let's go over to you, Sam. What'd you think of the series? Cloud9 started well, but kind of fell off as the series went on.
Yeah, a lot of recency bias on the show, man, picking C9 to win this series.
Yeah.
But I knew the Miami Heretics could get it done. No cigarettes for Method's sake for me, man. I picked them to win this one.
Did you pick it from the pressure of Methods tweeting you, or did you pick it because you actually thought they were going to win?
I just think Miami's really good.
Wait, what did he
I
tweet?
No, you don't remember
when?
You don't remember when they first picked up Super, like at that last stage, and we just kept picking like other teams to win because we didn't know how good Super was.
Yeah.
And then he kept tweeting us little cigarette emojis like every time we didn't pick their team.
Really? That's
Hey, bro. I've been high on Heretics since mid-stage 3, bro.
What was happening is not just us. It was the breaking point guys. Like,
Everyone,
we'd literally all be on the opposite team. And
Miami's good as fuck, though, man. This was a good, just like shush series, I think. Like people have been hyping up C9 at a good win against FaZe. Miami just come out and kind of slam them. The control was clinical, dude. They've had a couple of rough controls their last couple series, even though they've been playing well. And 3-0 with dominant fashion was big for them.
Yeah.
But it was just a clean series through and through. I mean, they continue to impress in Search. Super's been unbelievable, obviously. And I mean, I'm still high on Miami, man. If these guys don't make Sunday, I'd be very surprised.
What about Cloud9, Sam? They impressed you at all today? I mean, they won the first map. They have been looking better since the roster changed, but
yeah, there's some growing pains, I think, still. Obviously, a new team, 2 new players. There's a lot to learn, but I'm still pleasantly surprised. I think, again, I'm just going to keep gassing the Cap pickup. I still think it's great. I think Spart's been phenomenal in Respawn. Ben highlighted the rough rounds in Search, but yeah, I'm happy with C9's changes so far. Again, I mean, it takes a little while, and you're playing, one of the better teams in the league, so you're not expecting them to come out and fry like they did yesterday. But yeah, I mean, you've seen some positive things from C9, so hopefully they keep it up going forward and maybe make champs interesting. We'll see.
I think this goes all the way back to Pat's point, and I'm gonna let Pat take it here in a second. But like, bro, they had Attach and Mac on their team for so long. Fucking Pat, you were not a fan.
If teams just made the changes when the writing is on the fucking wall, like it was just the 3rd one, 4th one this season now.
Oh yeah, they just talked their whole season. Stay friends. Like, it's fucking insane, bro. I get it. Like, Lamar, all these guys, they have great friendships outside of the game. But it's like, bro,
the team was terrible for months, and they just let that continue. And it's not like, yeah, this team is not gonna make champs, it's fine, but they could have had a fucking chance had they made a roster move months ago. And the problem that I have is it's not like they couldn't have got this exact same fucking team. Like both the guys they picked up have been in challengers the whole fucking time. It's not like they had to be like,
not only that, Pat, they trialed the guy that's currently on their team,
yeah,
gave him one day of practice and
on the wrong role. On the wrong role.
On the wrong role.
No. They gave him the right role, but they made Max swap to an AR.
Even worse,
like,
bro.
like they trialed the guy that made their team better with one day of practice and chalked it, and then went back to him like, "Yo, we're just
there was just a horrible mismanagement on this C9 squad in general, and that chalked their year. So their first year back in the league was chalked to just simple as that.
Yeah, I will say, why even trial a player if you're only gonna play with him for one day? Like, that's just kind of cheese, right? I mean, Capsule was probably.
I mean, bro, you get your trial day's like a phase optic or like a phase thieves. You get slammed. You're like, yeah, no, it's just not gonna work out. Sorry, bro.
People were saying it went well. So like, what the fuck happened?
I have no idea.
I think
the power of friendship.
It's a learning lesson, because I'm just curious on the C9 side, like, you know, where like Lamar fell in the conversation, the players, like, you know, this might be one of those situations where if you're in Lamar's shoes, like, you've got to find a way to be objective and think externally and not fall victim to just, you know, oh, we can figure this out, oh, we have potential. Like, look externally and say, well, we're really struggling, we're falling away from the pack. Like, we might need to have that team change situation. But it's sad. It's sad, Chris, because these guys. It's sad, Chris, because I think these guys have the talent that with the right like situation at this event, like they can go pretty deep because they've got that pop-off potential.
I mean, we say this every year, but this should be a lesson to teams in the future. Like, you should go maximum literally 2 stages with a roster and figure it out. And the only reason I say 2 is because usually after the first stage, something big will probably change in the game or map sets will change. And usually after the second major, for the most part, you're playing that game for the rest of the year. For the most part, it rarely changes. So.
This has been common sense for years.
Yeah, exactly. It has been, but like it just needs to stop. Like as soon as first major, second stage, shit's not going your way, bro. Look somewhere else and just try to pick up literally the best players you can, like that are showing some talent. Because at the end of the day, yeah, Challengers isn't the pro league, but they show promise down there. And then on top of that, your team is probably not going to get worse. You're either going to get better, or you're going to be in the same fucking boat you just were in, with just different people on there. Exactly.
Did you see what Merck said, Duarte, at the end of the interview today? I think it was Nameless, who was like, you know, you've been in Challengers, right? Who were some players down there that you recommend? And he said Standy, and who was the other one he said?
Proloot.
Oh yeah, Standy and Proloot, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Proloot was probably one of the best challenger players like the entire first half of the year, and then Standy has been also really good. But I think people look at Standy and see his issues with other teams, and people maybe think he was quote unquote a bad teammate, and he had out of game issues as to why they didn't pick him up. But Standy's always been good. It's just from the team aspect is where he kind of struggles. And then Byron, he just hasn't, or Proloot, sorry, just hasn't had an opportunity in ages, and he's always been on lackluster teams. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I can definitely see Standy getting back in there. He's been cooking, bro. Eli's been going nuts. Same with Proloot, both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if any teams are gonna make those changes. Was Super make a crying face when they won? I didn't even see that. I didn't notice that till right now. Benjay, let's go to you. What'd you think of the series, Benjay? I gotta get your thoughts. What'd you think? Miami came out, they got the W. Cloud9, they look better, but still not enough to take down Miami today.
I thought for C9, they have a really good bag on that vault, skyline handle. So I think they're always going to be a tough out in these series. I think the thing for C9, and we've seen it with a couple iterations of the last one as well, you just have a tough time on that swing game mode control. To get in these mixy 1-1 series, and then too often we see them just get kind of waxed on that third map. The skyline got a little bit interesting. It ended up being 150 at a point, but then Miami really pulled away. I think they got a full 60 on a P1, and that was sort of how they got back in it. So I think there's a lot to like.